All right, here we go. Today we have legendary producer and reality TV star Stevie J.
I'm here. What's going on, Vlad?
Man, my homie for at least 10 years.
Yeah, I think a little longer.
A little longer than that,
like
yeah.
12, I say
Yeah,
like
maybe
12.
12, 12, 13.
Yeah.
During the early days of VladTV.
Yep. It's good to see you doing great. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you, man. We just randomly ran into each other at a sushi spot.
Exactly.
You know? And here we are.
And here we are.
Here we are. Well, we've done other interviews, but this is going to be a real in-depth one. So I want to start at the very beginning. So where were you born?
I was born in Utica, New York.
Okay. But then you were raised in Rochester?
Yes. I spent like 13 years in Rochester, New York. My family moved there. My dad, my 2 sisters, and my brothers. And stayed there for 13 years until they went to college in University of Buffalo in Buff State and then moved to Buffalo.
Well, you were raised by your dad, right?
Yeah.
Not by your mom, which is the more usual situation.
Yeah, my dad raised me, you know what I'm saying, and took care of me and my siblings. It was 6 of us, twin sisters. I was the youngest. He had us when I was 8 months. He took us. 8 months, it was me, my brother, a year older than me, my other brother, Keith, who had the problems with his legs, right? And then twin sisters, and then an older brother. So it was 6 of us.
Okay, all from the same parents?
Yeah.
So where was your mom during this time?
I mean, I never even got the scoop. I never even asked. You know what I'm saying? It's like, gotta live life, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that not having her around affected me in the ways with the women, you know what I'm saying? With me not trusting women and all that. But you know, we live and we grow and we able to learn how to deal with things and put it behind us. You know, and that's the problem with the world today is like a lot of people, you know, they don't want to deal with the pain that lies within. You know what I'm saying? And they carry that, and that becomes like a burden. You know what I'm saying? It can make you sick almost. So I didn't even ask about where she was. You know what I'm saying? My pops never talked or spoke ill about my moms. You know what I'm saying? And I got with my mom about 11 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, Jocelyn. Jocelyn took me to my mom for Mother's Day.
Okay, so you mean to tell me your mom left when you were 8 months old,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't until you were 40?
Till we got reconnected. It was like a phone call here and there. You know, like a, yo, hey, how you doing? Oh, okay, how are you? Where are you? You know, stuff like that. Nothing like really on a level of a connection. So on Mother's Day, Jocelyn woke me up one day in Atlanta, and she was like, let's go for a ride. And I noticed we were getting closer to Alabama. And I'm like, yo, where you taking me? She's like, you know where the fuck I'm taking you. So, but our service gave out on our phones because we in the middle of the fucking country and all that. So phone went out, so was some kids. I was like, I bet they know where my mom lived. You know what I'm saying? She was like, I bet they don't. I'm like, yo, y'all know where my mom live at? And you know, Love and Hip Hop was like really at its prime then. So they took us to my mom's house. It was cool.
So that was the first time you really met your mom?
Yeah, I sat down with her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, why would a mother leave 6 children? There's got to be a reason.
Of course.
I know you don't know the reason,
I'm not,
but
you know,
there's got to be a very serious reason. There's a serious reason to leave 1 child, you know, but to leave 6, that's an extremely serious situation.
Or why did my pops want to take us?
Well, that's another story in and
of
of
itself.
itself.
It's like 2 sides of it.
Exactly.
Me, I just love them both. I just lost them both this year, last year. You know what I'm saying, within a year.
So you'll never know.
Yeah, so I don't care to know. I just know I love him and I love her, and you know what I'm saying, that's it.
Well, and you touched on this. Do you feel like you had trust issues with women
Absolutely.
because of that situation?
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying?
So you always feel that a woman, no matter what she says, will bounce out at any moment at your lowest point. Is that what kind of goes through the back of your head?
It doesn't matter. You know, that's why, you know, I just remain focused on things that make me happy, like my children, and you know what I'm saying? Spending time in the studio, playing ball, and you know, making music. That's what my thing is. I love to hang with my family and make music. If a female comes in between, there's some time that you know what I'm saying? Other than that, it's cool. I'm not even thinking about a relationship.
Have you ever sat down with a therapist and talked about it?
Plenty of times.
Okay.
Plenty of times, you know? I mean, that's one thing that I respect is one that is able to deal with, you know, the things that's going on within oneself. It's like a lot of people duck and hide that.
Yeah.
That's why I played, my life played out right on Love and Hip Hop. You know what I'm saying? I ain't sugarcoat nothing. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to know something about me, you seeing it right here. This is what it is. You know, but people still see that Love and Hip Hop and they, you know, they like, oh, you the guy? I haven't been on Love and Hip Hop in what, 6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, when I was there, it was a different scenario.
Sure. We'll get to that.
Uh-huh.
I just want to build the whole story because I think it's an important story. So now you're living with your dad, with your siblings, and your dad is in a gospel band.
That's right, a gospel group.
Along with your uncles, too.
The Jordan Gospel Singers.
The Jordan Gospel Singers, exactly. And you wanted to play with them as a kid.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
You got the whole story. So I wanted to play with them, you know, because I used to watch them rehearse. And there was something about live music. And I'm like, yeah, my pops played the bass. My Uncle Dave played the guitar. You know what I'm saying? And my Uncle James was the lead singer. It was like a whole bunch of my uncles. And I asked my dad, could I play the drums? Because their drummer was weak. And he, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even know this dude. And I'm like, I'm 5.5, like, let me play. You know what I'm saying? He like, all right, boom. After the rehearsal was over, he grabbed some pots, a small one, a medium-sized one, and a large one. And he gave me a set of drumsticks. He said, if you beat your way through these pots, I'll get you a set. So about a year later, I had a set.
You actually beat through the pots?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you actually had a drum set. That was your first musical instrument that you owned?
Yeah.
Okay. And no lessons, you just kind of picked it up naturally?
Naturally.
And then you moved to other instruments?
Yes. Then I started with the guitar and the bass, because my dad had a bass there at the crib. So, you know, I would just pick it up and just try to mimic what I saw or just try to get a sound out of it. And I would do the same thing. My Uncle Dave would let me hold his guitar, and he'd be like, you know, no guitar picks for you, you don't need it. You know, just learn how to play. And soon enough, you know, as the years progressed, I got a little better and better and better.
Right. Then you picked up the keyboard.
Yeah, picked up the keyboard around, I want to say like my senior year of high school, really.
Huh.
You know, I always dabbled in. I played 3 notes like, thought I was nice. That shit wasn't nothing. So that's when I started at the beginning of my senior year. And then by the time my brothers and them came back for Thanksgiving holiday, they was away for college and all that. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I was playing chords like. They were like, yo, what the, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got something going on. And it was like, I moved to Buffalo that year, my senior year. This is where, like, my life changed. Because my whole family had moved to Buffalo because my sisters was going to college to UB. My brothers was going to Buff State. And so my dad let me stay with my basketball coach, Coach Jackson, Trent Jackson, great guy. He, you know, he ran his family, you know, like my father ran his, real stern and all that. So my dad let me stay there. So long story short, we had a championship basketball game. We all shaved our heads, balled the whole team. You know what I'm saying? We lost the game. But the thing was, my father and them came to the game. My father, my stepmother, Rosalind, and my brother Keith came to the game. And after the game, my dad came to the locker room. But our deal was that I could stay and finish high school because I went to the same school from 6th grade to my senior year. Dude come to the locker room like, come on, let's go. I'm like, where we going? He like, we going to Buffalo. I'm like, nah, I'm hanging out with my friends. Like you said, he's like, yo, grab your things, let's go. I said, yo, this some bullshit, basically. You know what I'm saying? That 50 minutes was the longest 50-minute ride from Rochester to Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I was like, yo, I want to do something else.
Well, yeah, you dropped out of high school at one point?
Yeah, basically, I went to this school called Bennett High School. You know what I'm saying? And they had this policy where once you have if you get an early release, you can't come back to school. But I didn't know that. My sister had a baby, had an early release, went to see the baby, came back to school, and got suspended. It's cool. I don't even want to go to school. Started going up to the college, dating the seniors in college, the juniors. They teach me about Babyface, Layla Hathaway, and they like, yo, you could play all these instruments. I'm like, you should produce. I'm like, produce? What's produce? They're like, that's the guy that put all the music together. You know what I'm saying? So I started making songs like, you know. And it's like, people was like, yo, you sound like Devontae from Jodeci. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. You know what I'm saying? Unbeknownst to me, the first group I ever worked with was Jodeci.
Okay. So, you got your first break when you met Jodeci. Now, this was
almost. I had a little break earlier with Joe Public. It was a group from Buffalo that had the song, You Got to Live and Learn. Go.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I remember that.
Yeah. So, you know, I noticed that they were hanging with Jermaine Dupri was hanging with them with the musical stuff and all that. So they invited me over and they showed me how to do intros, verses, B-section, chord. They gave me song structure. So they were the first group, you know, so I was coming in with a little knowledge. And they gave me my first floppy disk of sounds. And we'll get to that later.
Okay. Well, at one point, I guess you were at a Rochester fashion show?
Yes, absolutely. That's crazy. I got kicked out of school and all that. And, you know, my dad allowed me to graduate from Kensington High School. And after that whole summer, I was working in the studio trying to get nice at what I do. And my brother Michael's ex-girlfriend, Rolanda, she hit him like, yo, I want your brother to come up with his band, with his group and sing at the fashion show. You know, we get there, wasn't nobody there. So we at the bar with it, Hennessy's. Boom, boom. We go back 30 minutes later, it's a packed house, Jodeci in the building and everything. So, you know, we performed or whatever, and Dalvin, Casey, and JoJo came up to me and was like, yo, y'all nice, man. Who did y'all tracks? And I'm like, yo, I did. They're like, yo, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, it's a piano in the back. I know all y'all shit. You know what I'm saying? So I started playing their songs and stuff. I started playing Stay and all that. They singing, and I was harmonizing with them. They're like, you sing too? You know, went to the studio, met Devontae, and that was a done deal.
Right, because they're working on the show, the after party, the hotel album.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And you had 2 songs on there.
That's right. Some More and
Fun Tonight. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you're producing for Jodeci on a major label album.
That's right.
And you had 2 placements on that album, and at that point, Jodeci was hot to death.
Yeah, they were like a rock band.
Right. This was their second or third album?
I believe this was the third album.
Third album.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And I'll be honest, like Jodeci is my favorite male R&B group ever.
I would have to say the same.
Yeah. Because I feel like they catered to men as well as women.
Right, right.
You see what I'm saying?
The style, like just the way they present themselves, like, you know what I'm saying, is more like a rock, you know what I'm saying, hardcore type of style. And R&B, because most R&B dudes was like a little more smoother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, man, I love Jodeci.
Yeah.
I love Jodeci. I've interviewed Mr. Dalvin before.
That's right.
But I would love to interview the rest of them as well. Okay, so now you're producing them and you guys hang out for like a year and a half?
Probably, yeah, almost 2 years.
Okay, so what was it like? And you were actually playing background, instruments for him and stuff like that?
Absolutely. I did background vocals on the album, played a lot of instruments on the album, and I went on tour with him too.
Okay. Now, you are, let me look this up, around 22, 23 years old.
21.
21.
Yeah.
And you're going on tour with Jodeci.
For the first time.
For the first time.
I mean, it was bananas.
What was the craziest experience during that time?
In London. We was in London. And they sold out back-to-back days. And it was like crazy. Like, I never knew how it was behind the scenes. Like, and it's just like at the hotel, it's like thousands of girls. It's like crazy. You know what I'm saying? So boom, they like, yo, go with some girls or whatever and bring them back. So, you know, I slide down, go get like 5 girls, bring them back upstairs. They're like, all right, thank you. Go back to the room and learn your parts for tomorrow. It's simple. Like this is where I'm like, all right, cool. So my lesson early was to really like, you know, even when I went on tour with Puff, No Way Out tour, I always was the one to have my instruments in my room better in my craft.
Wasn't Casey and Mary J. Blige dating during this time?
Yeah, I think that was the end of the road for them.
Yeah, I heard it got kind of messy at the end.
I mean, all I know is I just used to see them together at the studio sometime, and then I didn't see her anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so after working with Jodeci, and Puffy was the one that really A&R'd Jodeci's first album.
Absolutely.
And really styled them and everything else like that. So he was very instrumental in that group.
Yes, he was.
So you met Puffy through Jodeci?
I met Puff at I think it was Live Aid. That was the name of the concert.
Yeah.
In New York. And they were like, yo, Biggie and Puff on the show. I didn't know. I'm on Jodeci wave. You know what I'm saying? I'm really into R&B at this point. I'm, you know, got my roots stuck in R&B. So I'm like, I don't know these guys. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, how I met Puff was Chad Elliott, Dr. Seuss. You know what I'm saying? Great friend of mine, a brother to me. He had me in the studio, me, Missy, and a couple other writers, you know what I'm saying, in the studio. And I think it was Peekaboo or whatever. And he had us in a session with Total. And I was in there playing the guitar and singing with Total. And he walked by like, yo, Stevie J, right? With Jodeci, right? I got a contract for you in my car. And we started laughing, you know what I'm saying? And we just went to talking, and, you know, he expressed to me, he's like, yo, I'm looking for somebody like you that does what you do. I'm the plug. I got all the, you know what I'm saying? I got all the artists and the labels, and, you know, I'm in good position. So it was like, all right, so what we doing? You know what I'm saying? You got the plug, I'll be the music. We do something 50-50.
Right. Well, because, let me just rewind for a second. While you were with Jodeci, there was something called Swing Mob.
Yes.
Which you were a part of.
Yes. I guess I was. If I was down with them, yeah. I guess,
right.
Yeah.
But at one point, it kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And that's when you went with Puff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you know, it was like, I guess Jodeci was going through a transition in their career where they were handling business, and, you know, they had to handle their business, and, you know, all the artists weren't happy they weren't handling the business. Like Missy was there.
Timberland was there
too, right? Was there.
Yeah.
Tweet was there.
Right.
Player was there.
Missy was
Sugar
in a
was
group,
there.
I think, originally.
Yeah, she was in Sugar.
There we go. Yeah, girl group. Yeah.
I think it was.
So there's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Right
no,
there.
it was what was the name of that group? Sister.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah, all of them were there. You know what I'm saying? And it just got to a point to where, you know, everybody wanted to spread their wings, so to say. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now you start working with Puff, and you guys formed the Hitmen?
Yes, absolutely. The Hitmen was a group of producers, myself, D-Dot, Carlos, Nasheem, Ron Lawrence. That was a core group. You know what I'm saying? And Mario Winans came on later. You know what I'm saying? But that was a core group. Chucky Thompson originally, the OG, the reason why I was even there. When I heard Mary's album with All Night Long and all them songs on it, I'm looking at the credits. I was a big credit guy. You know what I'm saying? Chucky Thompson. So Chucky started the Hitmen. It was Puff and Chucky started the Hitmen.
Okay, and the thing about the Hitmen and that era was the music was very sample-based, but you guys would replay the samples.
Absolutely. On certain songs, we would replay the whole sample or play on top to just give it enough, you know, so it just had a certain fullness to it, a certain sound. I believe that's what kind of like took hip-hop to another level once, you know, I came in and started adding on those tracks that D-Dot was doing and Nasheem was doing and Carlos and Lawrence, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I think that changed the sound of the game on that Life After Death album.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you're recreating the sounds with new instruments.
Absolutely.
Bigger, brighter sound, but also on the business side, you don't have to pay the master recording costs, right? Because you're not sampling.
Exactly.
So you pay the publishing, but not the master.
That's
so you
right.
basically, you're getting 50% off when it comes to sample clearance.
Well, when you got somebody that's able to come in and hear the song, you know, I haven't been trained classically in anything, so to be able to have that element of live music, the sound is richer. It's a more prolific type of sound.
1996 rolls around. You're around 23 years old, and that's when you really get to work.
Yes.
112 drops, and you do most of the album?
Yeah. That first 112 album,
Yeah.
I did like 90% of it.
Exactly.
I was the actual fifth member of
Right.
No, for real.
No, I feel like
you
you did the intro, Pleasure and Pain, Come See Me remix, Sexy
Yeah.
You interlude, I Can't Believe, I'll Be There, In Love With You, Why Does, Throw It All Away. Woo! Well, the song I didn't mention on that album was Only You.
Only You remixed.
The remix, the Bad Boy remix.
Man, I mean, original was colossal in itself. You know what I'm saying? And then when you got that remix, I mean, that's when my life changed, really.
Right. That song peaked at number 13 on the Hot 100, and it went gold.
Yes.
You've had other songs,
That was,
album songs or whatever, but this is
Yeah.
your first single.
that went on the chart.
Yes.
That charted. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I was a part of a lot of remixes before this. You know, like just massive remixes. KRS One remixes, Gina Thompson, The Things You Do remix. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a dream come true when you finally see the fruits of your labor and you see all the hard work and dedication that you're putting in, long hours in the studio, sleeping in the studio 3 days, you know, washing your nuts in the sink and all that, brushing your teeth in the sink and all that, the same one niggas throwing up in and all that. No, for real.
Nah,
you know what I'm
really.
saying? I mean,
Yeah.
and I always tell my son, because my son wrote me, like, you got to have more passion and you got to believe in this shit more than me right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know, it's just different outside. But yeah, the number 13 hit, I needed that.
Well, right.
That changed the life.
And on that song, on the Bad Boy remix, you had Biggie and Mace.
And Mace.
Whose idea was that?
I mean, that's pretty much Puff putting it
Yeah.
together.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, when Mace got signed around the time I was working on 112. And he was just at the studio every day, so it only made sense. You know what I'm saying? He was in everybody's session.
Was that the first song you did with Biggie?
Yes, that was the first song I did with Big.
Okay. So you're in the studio as he's laying down the
Yeah, of
verses.
course.
What was
I
that
did
like?
real songs with
No,
Big.
I understand.
Not the AI stuff and all that.
Right. The real songs.
Real song.
Okay, so here you are in the studio with Biggie for the first time ever. Mm-hmm. He's not writing.
He's not writing, but that wasn't the first time I met him, though.
No, I get that.
Yeah. But
I get that.
He's not writing nothing. He's just sitting there, you know what I'm saying, smoking. You know, C's rolling up mad blunts. He's just sitting there smoking. You know what I'm saying? Rarely bob his head, you know what I'm saying? Just cooling with Junior Mafia's mad, his homies in there. And they having stories. He's just talking. There's mad conversations going on, drinking, smoking, and everything. 2, 3 in the morning, where everybody, he's, you know what I'm saying? Yo, move, you know what I'm saying? He going in the booth and laying stuff. One take, sit, phenomenal.
One take.
One take. Then
Wow.
he does his ad lib, does his doubles, and then his ad libs. Sit.
Okay. And this is the first time you're working with Mace as well.
No, me and Mace used to be in the studio, like in the MIDI room, going back and forth. He read me his lyrics. So
Okay.
officially on the song, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Officially on the song, yes.
So this is the first time you and Mace officially recorded something.
Yeah.
And it's on a hit single.
Appeared to be.
What was different about Mace than other artists?
Mace had a certain confidence about himself. His delivery was different. The way he had the slow talk, everything about Mace just said individual. He's his own individual. You know what I'm saying? It didn't seem like he was coming in the game wanting to be like somebody else.
Yeah.
A lot of these cats, it's okay to admire other artists, but have your own identity. Like,
in fact, I feel like if Puffy based his style on anyone, it was Mace. Because when you hear them together, sometimes you can't tell them apart.
True indeed. You know, and I'm definitely a part of that because I feel I gave Bad Boy a different swag. You know what I'm saying? Since we speak, and we gonna get on the Mace and Puff, but it's like I came in with the pull-up bar in the studio, you know what I'm saying, working out, you know what I'm saying, wife beaters all day, you know what I'm saying, and it's like you come in, you get a guy like Mace. It was all this young energy, you know what I'm saying. So I believe Puff took elements of all the young fly shit he had around him and put it together, and I felt Mace played the intricate part of it because, you know what I'm saying, just because of his rap style. And he was from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? And Puff, mom's from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that's why he played more of an intricate role in it, because he felt the Harlem effect.
Well, right around the same time that you're doing 112, you drop Lil' Kim's first debut solo single.
No Time.
No Time.
Yeah.
Can you play that?
I probably got to hear it.
There we go.
Something like that, but yeah.
It's so ill when you hear it by itself.
Yeah.
You don't hear what the song turned into.
Absolutely.
You actually had to create that whole final product that wasn't obvious based on the beat.
I know, because you have to put a piano part down, then you have to find a bass line to it, then you got to find a guitar part to it, play it all over, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, my element was I wanted the Bad Boy sound to be, like, dramatic. So I always add those strings in there, you know what I'm saying?
Well, this peaks number 18 on the Hot 100, goes gold again. Now you got two
gold plaques.
Two gold plaques. And during this time, Biggie was writing all Kim's lyrics?
Yes.
And he was like in the studio, like
he was
in the booth with her?
He laid down the lyric, he laid down the verse first.
The whole song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything.
I heard he does that. Yeah, I heard he did that actually.
And then she would just listen, get a copy, and just listen. Then when it's time to go in the studio, let's get at it. And Big would be there vocally producing her.
Yep.
Which is a lost art out here too.
Well, I mean, you just had tons of placements that year. Faith Evans, I just can't. And As Soon As I Get Home.
Yeah, remix.
The remix, Mona Lisa.
Yeah, Wanna Please You.
SWV, You're the One. Isley Brothers, Floating on Your Love. Babyface, This Is for the Lover in You. That's a big one.
That's a big one. It was a good year, you know.
Shantae Savage, I Will Survive. Tevin Campbell, You Don't Have to Worry. MC Light, Cold Rock a Party. New Edition, Missy Elliott, You Don't Have to Worry. Soul For Real, Where Do We Go? Horace Brown, How Can We Stop? And a bunch of other songs, like I Want You Baby.
You can keep going. That sounds good to me.
I mean, you had a whole run that year.
I mean, thanks to one guy, Sean Combs, Diddy. You know what I'm saying? When I came in to the equation, he was hot. I just was the kerosene. I was the gasoline and the kerosene. And with that, you know what I'm saying, me showing him that I could make a hit. I'm going to tell you a funny story. So the first day I met Puff, you know, I told you he came in and said, yo, I got a contract. So we sat and talked. And, you know what I'm saying, he gave me a dap. Boom, he gave me a dap. And there was mad money, and you know what I'm saying?
Oh, he just gave you money?
Yeah. Like when I was leaving, you know what I'm saying, he was like, I need you to come back tomorrow. Just gave me dap. Boom.
Okay, so how much did he give you?
Like $6,500.
Damn. Back then, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Even today, that's a lot of money. But back then,
man, listen, it's hard out here.
Yeah, it's like 20 grand today.
You have most producers working 2 jobs, Uber Eats, restaurant. You know what I'm saying? It's
facts. Yeah.
It's real. So I appreciated that. So the story is, I came in the next day, and after he sent me to Russell and L.A. Reid and all of them, he said, yo, went back to the studio. He was like, I got to go to a meeting, but I got the MPC set up in the MIDI room with the keyboards and all that. You familiar with how to use MIDI? I'm like, of course. I know how to do all that. You know what I'm saying? He left. I'm like, what the fuck is the MPC? Word. So check this out. Yo, Sleeves, I went to the MIDI room. My man Coco, I remember his name. He was in there smoking a blunt on him. You know what I'm saying? He had an afro. He on the MPC. I'm like, yo, I'll give you $1,000 if you show me how to work that MP. Out of the money I just got. I'm like, this is the biggest investment in my fucking life. Cut to, he was like, yo, give me the money. You know what I'm saying? Boom, he's smoking like, yo, give me the bread. You know what I'm saying? And he was smoking some Babbage too, but I was like, here, give him, you know, and he's like, it's just easy. You know what I'm saying? You can record right here. He was like, you want them playing ass motherfuckers. So you can stick your guitars in the back of that, record them as samples. You know what I'm saying? He was like, you got no sounds? I said, yeah, I got sounds. Back to Joe Public. Floppy disk. All these floppy disks of sounds. But the sounds was knocking so hard in that shit, everybody was like, where the fuck you get them sounds from? You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Joe Public and all that. But yeah, isn't that crazy? I didn't even know about an MPC.
That's crazy.
Made all those hits that you named on the MPC.
On the MPC. Okay, so Bad Boy's on fire. You're getting all these placements. But right around that same time, Tupac's getting out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, even though he knows Biggie didn't set him up at Quad Studios, he's still running with that whole storyline.
Well, you know, he's entitled to run with whatever he want to run with. You know what I'm saying? But for me, you know, I just always just, you know, kept my eyes open wide and stayed out the way. You know what I'm saying? That's my whole process.
Tupac drops Hit 'Em Up.
I remember.
How did you feel when you first heard that song? Because he's talking about all your friends in that song.
I mean, you know, I walked in the studio, and if you know Daddy's House Studio, you walk through these doors, it looks like a vault, and then the first left is the office. You know, I'm walking through, and I see people in the office like, yo, what's going on? And I'm listening to the record like, damn. It wasn't like Mary Had a Little Lamb. This was like, you know what I'm saying? I fucked your bitch and this and that and boom, boom. I'm just like, this is where we at. I'm on this side. I'm on this side.
Yeah.
So that's just, I had an allegiance or alignment with who I was with. I'm a type of person. I'm not a fair weather type person. If I'm rocking with you and we in the spot together, we leaving out the spot together.
Did you ever run into Tupac before then? Did you ever meet him?
But
nothing.
No, we always dealt with the same chicks, and chicks would be like, y'all get along so, yo, scratch that story, man. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna happen. But girls used to deal with the same women.
Okay. So Tupac drops Hit 'Em Up, and things are now heating up. Vibe drops the cover with Biggie and Puffy,
And
where it says East versus West.
Right, and then they had the Suge night with Suge, Snoop, and Pac on the other cover, right? They did two different covers.
Did they?
Yeah, I think they did two.
Possibly. Okay. But now, there is now a East Coast, West Coast war, which is not really true. It's just between certain people, but it's being, you know, coined as that.
It's definitely got coined as that. Isn't that kind of bananas that it would be coined that? Why couldn't it be coined anything else?
I mean, it should have just been Bad Boy versus Death Row, or
so why bring two coasts into it?
Exactly. It was messy. It was extremely messy. I mean, I'll tell you what, like when I interviewed Tretch, he felt Vibe magazine was really responsible. You know
what I'm saying? For egging that on, right?
Egging it on, yeah.
You know what killed Pac and Big? Let's get some real shit right here. I might not have too much longer because I don't give a fuck. After they died, I died with them. I'm here haunting niggas with the truth. When you got that motherfucking Vibe magazine, right? When you see Big and Puff on the cover, East versus West. When I saw that fucking cover, I said, man, what the fuck is going on? Gangsters don't read articles. Niggas on the East Coast like, yo, it's on. Wait till them West Coast niggas come out here. West Coast like, oh, it's on. Wait till them East Coast niggas come out here. So it baited up a whole shit that fucking went down that had just so many cycles of all Biggie followers and riders, all Pac riders, motherfuckers that ain't even know neither one of them, gangster ass motherfuckers, it could have really turned into a motherfucking East Coast, West Coast war.
But isn't it bad enough what we got going on in our communities? Isn't it bad enough what we were subjected to, you know what I'm saying, with the slavery and all that? And now we got an industry that we thought that we designed to get us out the hood and shit. We still in that same box. But that's a different interview.
Well, I'll tell you what. I interviewed Tupac's biological father, right? And he talked about how near the end of Tupac's life, his mom pulled him aside and said, listen, this East versus West Coast thing was happening with the Black Panthers through the FBI. The exact same thing. The FBI would infiltrate and write fake letters to Panthers on either coast saying, oh, when we see you, we're going to kill you. So then when they run into each other, gunshots would come off. And basically, Afeni was telling Pac, like, you're still going with this whole program that's been tearing the black community apart.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, you're right. I need to, near the end of his life, he was doing the One Nation project and trying to kind of get, this whole East versus West Coast thing under control.
By that time, it might have been a little too late.
It was a little too late. Yeah. So then Tupac gets killed in Las Vegas.
Remember that clearly.
When you heard the news, what did you think?
I was on the George Washington Bridge on my way home. I'm like, pulled over at the crib. When I got home, I'm like, damn, this shit is up. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's bananas. How could it turn from anything into that? Like, this dude was just trying to make a living.
Were you ever around Keefe D or some of the Southside Crips?
No.
Not at all.
I'm always around myself. I'm a one-man gang, man.
Yeah.
Stevie J gang, man.
I did the interview with Keefe D 5 years ago, and 5 years later, he got arrested. He's now being charged for the murder of Tupac, being in the car.
He wanted that story to be out there like that. You got to be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
That's all.
When you heard, I don't know if you heard his interview. I mean, I did his first real interview, and he did other ones as well, but he wrote a book about it, which was on Amazon.
Wow.
Before I did the first interview.
Wow.
So people like to say, oh, I'm the reason, but he had a book that he wanted to talk about.
It's only one person responsible for any demise in one's life. And then you got to point the finger at yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody can blame you. You know what I'm saying? Let them rock out. But, if he wanted to do interviews and write books, I mean,
Yeah.
He wants the story to get out there, obviously.
Yeah. Well, he's, right now in his trial, he's a star witness against himself.
Against himself?
Yeah.
Well, you're just going to have to watch that on Court TV and see what happened,
I mean, but I've been hearing the Orlando Anderson shooting story for years and years, way before I even met Keefe D. Were you hearing the same thing, or?
I wasn't hearing, I just don't, I roll by myself. Even when it was Bad Boy, I'm not hanging with niggas unless we're in the studio or we got to go to a club or something. Other than that, I have my kids to raise, you know what I'm saying? I'm moving around doing different stuff, you know what I'm saying? I really never had my nose or was concerned with the drama. I just wanted to make sure that when I was with my guys, we were safe. Anything I could do to make sure that we were safe, we were safe.
How did Puffy take Tupac's murder?
I mean, that's just something you probably have to ask that guy. You know what I'm saying? For me, it was like we have businesses to run. We have families, and, I'm sure he felt some type of pain as a black man or whatever, but life goes on, man.
Well, I can tell you, we interviewed Lil C's, and he said that Biggie was crying when he heard about Tupac getting killed. Like, he was in tears. And it kind of messed him up for a while.
Yeah, so when we got that word, Big was, we was sad about that shit, man. No matter what we was going through, we ain't wish that on nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely not. No matter what was going on. You got history with somebody. Outside of all the shit, you can recover from somebody dissing you on the song, you know what I'm saying? But you can't recover from shit like that. We wasn't out there wishing the man get shot or we want to shoot him. It wasn't no thing. We didn't want to make a record about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. You know what I mean? So that shit definitely hurt Big because, like, while all this shit going on, you can't even be there for your homie or really just, like, or get a cordial situation or get an understanding. It's like, like, oh, shit, like, You know, we were just more shocked than anything.
Yeah, like when Pac did pass, you know, Faith said that she remembered Big calling her, and he was actually crying on the phone.
Yeah, no, he teared up when we sat there and like we watching this one. We just moved to Glen Point. We just moved to Jersey, crib, gated. You know, like we had this big screen TV, and that shit came up, and I called him downstairs, like, hi, the movie, like, yo, B.I., come here, like, yo, look, and he just sat there and just stared at the TV. Just like stared at the TV for like 5 minutes and just put his head down. Just like, you know, like it was fucked up.
You know, because he always thought that they'd become friends again. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so as this is happening, you're working on Biggie's second album.
Yeah.
Life After Death, where you produced 7 songs.
I produced 7 songs, but I touched damn near everything.
The whole album.
Yeah, damn near. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I know Biggie's album, the first album was called Ready to Die.
Mm-hmm.
So the second one was Life After Death. But did you ever speak to him about this whole death theme? You know, it's just not really a good idea.
It's like, no, we never had a conversation about that, because at that point, you know, when you're young and you really come from nothing and you can make your way out of it, you know, you're going to be on, most guys from the hood are on some like by any means necessary type vibes. You know, knowing what I know now, you know, it's so much power in the words that you say. And speaking and manifestation and, you know, speaking things into an existence.
Yeah.
So it's power in that.
Well, you know, one thing I heard which was always interesting to me about Biggie, I interviewed C. Gutta, right? One of his right-hand people who actually lived with him for a while. And I remember we talked about that one line from What's Beef? Don't you know that my N-word Gutta kidnap kids, fuck them in the ass and throw them over the bridge? He said, like Gutta, he said when he heard that lyric, he was like, what in the absolute fuck? You make me sound like a child molester rapist. But he said that once Biggie lays down his line, nobody in the world can make him change it.
And that was a hell of a lyric right there.
Yeah, and like Gutta said that for 2 weeks.
He was trying
they
to get
wouldn't
him to
talk
change.
to each other.
Yeah.
They would like pass each other in the apartment and like not say any words to each other because he was so pissed, but he knew that Biggie wasn't going to change it. And then the song What's Beef? Where he said, don't you know that my N-word Gutta fucking kidnap kids, fuck them in the ass, throw them over the bridge. When you first heard that, and I know it's not true. I know it's not true. But when you first heard it and you knew how big of an album this was about to be, and did you hear it before it came out?
Yeah, hell yeah. I was in the studio
Okay, so
when he did
y'all
it.
in the studio.
Man, this nigga he ain't talked to me. I ain't talked to him for like 2 weeks. Like we stayed in the same crib and we would like do everything, the same thing together, but I just wasn't speaking to him. You in the car with him every day. We eating every day. You know, we still doing everything every day, but I'm just not speaking because I was so tired. I'm like, yo, bro, you gonna have dudes thinking I'm a pedophile, first of all. I just came home from jail. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, I already know where dudes' minds will go.
Man, that's something.
Is that Biggie for you?
I mean, I really I didn't know him on that level. You know what I'm saying? We see each other in the studio.
No, but what I'm saying is once Biggie lays down a verse, you can't say, hey, I don't like that. Can you change it?
Because he's not going to go back and do it again. It's done. Once he finishes a verse, it's done.
That's it.
That's what
I'm
you
saying.
get from him. Whatever you got, that's all you get.
Okay. And you did a bunch of songs.
Yes, I did.
Including More Money, More Problems.
Yeah.
Number 1 on the Hot 100.
Hold on, I need my glasses for that one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, number 1.
Number 1.
My first number 1.
Yes. Certified platinum. Your first platinum record too?
Yes, my first platinum record and my first number 1.
How did that feel?
I mean...
You're 24?
Yeah. I felt great. And the song was birthed. Let me tell you how the song came about. Mace. I'm in the MIDI room, chilling. Mace comes in with this record, Diana Ross record. I'm coming. But
Yeah.
boom. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. He like, loop this up, Stevie. This gonna be big. I got it. You know what I'm saying? Looped it up real quick. Put the guitar over it, the bass line over it. You know what I'm saying? I just added those elements along with the drums and the percussions, the triangle and the hi-hat, the shaker, of course. And took it in the studio and let Big hear it. Big was like, I need that. You know what I'm saying? For me, I trade you. And he traded him for Been Around the World and yeah.
Which was on Mace's album.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think that was on Puff album.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It was supposed to be
You're
on.
right.
It was supposed to be.
It was on No Way Out.
Yeah, it was supposed to be on Mace's album.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there was Notorious Thugs.
Yeah. I did something like that last night.
I remember reading this interview. You want to play it?
I'm listening. I'm gonna listen to you first.
Well, I remember reading an interview with Biggie while he was still alive, and it wasn't with Biggie. It was with someone else who was in the studio during that session. And when Biggie did his verse, and this was very different in terms of Biggie's style, the way he's like rapping, like, you know,
Absolutely.
Bone Thugs, like
Right.
he'd never done that before.
Right. He just took
was
a little
very
bit-
kind of, you know, traditional in his rapping, and then he's really flipping it like someone else, and like
showing a nice little versatility.
exactly showing the versatility. And I remember like hearing like someone in the studio said when Biggie came out of the booth, he was like, "Yo, I'm the best."
Yeah.
Is that true?
This is what happened. Yes, that is the truth.
Yeah.
So we did the song out here in LA. I remember the session vividly. You know what I'm saying? I even had this cowboy hat that I went to Nashville to work with Keith Urban, and I had this cowboy hat that I bent up and, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And I remember them, they came in with the grocery cart. You know what I'm saying? The Henny, the weed.
Okay.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the day before that in New York, I'm working on the beat. Big, like, yo, can you do the beat for me and Bone? You know what I'm saying? But at the time, there's a lot of Hitmen. So Puff came in. You know what I'm saying? I did end up doing a beat that night. I ended up doing the beat for Notorious Thug. Big was like, yo, smoke this. I'm like, smoke what? He's like, yo, this leak in it. Liquid hash in the blunt. That's what Notorious Thugs became.
Can you play it?
It's like, but this is a guitar. It's supposed to be the guitar, you know what I'm saying? And it was like some piano players going crazy and stuff, yeah.
I mean, what was it like hearing Biggie rap with Bone? Like,
He didn't lay his part when they laid it. It was like, yeah,
they laid it first.
Yeah, they laid it
back.
first,
Yeah.
and he's like, yo, I'm not laying mine right now. I'll lay mine when I get back to New York. So we listened to all of them lay their part, So that was pretty much being embedded in his system, in his soul. You know what I'm saying? So when he did his part in New York, it came out. Because I remember being on the phone. I was on the phone with the engineer. And then he came out the booth and was like, I'm the best. I'm the fucking best. I mean, I would say that my argument is the lifespan that he lived was a short lifespan.
Yeah.
He didn't put out 20 albums and do mad songs. It was just like every song that he got was custom fit.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a Pac who just was in the studio all day, every day. Just that's what people have different hungers for where they want to be or what they see.
Yeah. Well, and also I talked to a few people around Pac, and they all told me that Pac had this feeling that he wasn't going to live for long. And he needed to hurry up and get as much music out as possible.
People have different hungers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know
His
what I'm
hunger, he was like, I'm going to die soon, so I got to hurry up.
That's the way he felt.
That's how he felt.
But
I mean, look at a lot of the songs also. There's so many death songs around Pac.
But I'm saying, though, if you look at the title of Biggie's album,
It's the same thing. Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but you have to be careful. That's why I always tell my kids and the youth around me, be careful what come out of your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Because you hold weight. Nobody can shape your life the way that you can, the way that you feel about yourself. No matter who. You know what I'm saying? No matter who you deal with, nobody can shape your life better than you. You got to encourage yourself.
Well, you also did, you did the intro.
I did.
You did You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You.
I actually did the drum. I could have took credit for a lot of joints, but we was a squad, and it was like, yo, on What's Beef, all everything. I touched everything.
Okay.
On the joint.
Nasty Boy.
Definitely.
You produced
Replay the set. Let me tell you a funny story about Nasty Boy. So it was doom 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 doom. You nasty girl. You remember Vanity 6? Mm-hmm. That was the original sample. Like when we went to Trinidad, all the Hitmen went to Trinidad, and I used that sample, but I played all the drum parts over. So we went to see Prince to ask him, could we use it? You know what I'm saying? I remember that day Boys the Men was there. Like all of the people I love was there. Like, I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? All my people was there. So Puff get his time with Prince, and Prince is like, hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? He like, yo, I got this song, right? You know what I'm saying? With my artist Biggie. You know what I'm saying? He sampled one of his joints there. He was like, no, thank you. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Yo.
Prince is like that, though. I heard Prince, he doesn't clear nothing.
He was like, no, thank you. Enjoy the show. Like, damn. I was like, damn. He just dissed you in a smooth-ass tone and shit. Like,
it's Prince. He can afford to do that.
Absolutely.
He doesn't need any more money. He's good.
Yeah. So, that was the original song. I just ended up replaying it. I remember because Devontae came in the studio when I was doing it.
Okay. So, you put this album together, and it's getting ready to come out. Hypnotized was the first single.
Yeah, I played something on there too.
Oh, you did
the
too?
hi-hats and the bass line on there. D-Dot
was the main producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I remember when that dropped, everyone was like, whoa, okay, this is what's about to happen?
Yeah.
And I think maybe Going Back to Cali was out as like a B-side.
I did the vocal during on that too. Going Back to Cali.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this huge anticipation for the second album. Big goes out to L.A.
I was there.
You were with Big.
Yeah, I was in the car with Puff.
So I interviewed Gene Deal, and he was saying how he didn't want to go out that night, and he was telling people that it wasn't safe and so forth. Were you getting any indication that something bad was about to happen? No, just a regular night going out.
Just a regular night.
Everything good. Okay. You guys go to the, was it the Vibe party?
Yeah. I remember that party. I bought all the Down P in the building.
Yeah. Okay.
If you see us, we all got Down P bottles and all.
Dope.
That. Yeah.
Okay. I think, was that when, I think Escape was there?
Everybody was there.
And I think Big tried to apologize.
I'm not sure.
Because he dissed him. He said, remember he said, I fucked you, Paul.
But it's rap music, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but I guess who was it?
Candy from Escape?
Was it Candy? I think maybe it was Candy who I'd interviewed a long time ago. I guess he tried to apologize, but they didn't want to hear his apology.
She didn't want to hear it at the time?
Yeah, at the time. She felt kind of bad afterwards.
I thought it was funny. It was cool.
Yeah, it was a lie. Yeah. It was a bar.
But it was like, it was a great way to color a story, though.
Yeah. So, you guys are having a great time at this party, and then you guys leave. Where is your car compared to everyone else's?
I mean, shoot, I came out, and the driver was right there in the front.
Okay, were you in the car with Puff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Gene Deal was the driver?
No, he wasn't driving.
But he was in the car with you guys?
Yeah, he was the security guard.
Okay, got it. So you guys are driving in front of Big, and then you hear the shots ring out. Did you see the driver? Did you see anything?
Nah.
Nothing.
You hear shots. What would you do if you heard a shot?
Yeah.
What would you do if you heard a shot?
Okay. But the car circles around, and from what Gene Deal said is he gets out of the car and pulls Big out of the car. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
You know
So what do you remember happening after the shots ring out?
I remember calling to see where the closest ambulance was.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember. You know what I'm saying? And, we went to the hospital.
Were you in the ambulance with Big?
No.
No. Okay, you just met him there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are in the hospital hoping for the best, but then you get the news that Big had passed away.
Yeah. Yeah. I was at the hospital when I got the news, and you know, that's when it began to be like a big concert. Everybody started coming up to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was something that everybody couldn't really believe at the time.
When you first heard the news that Big didn't make it, what'd you think?
I was sad that he didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? You know, just to even be able to hear them shots go off and know that he got hit, that, you know what I'm saying? You never want anybody that, you know, that you're around or that's in a brotherhood you know, you don't want that for that.
Well, although Tupac's murder is looking like it's going to be tried in the next year or so, Biggie's murder is still kind of an enigma. I've interviewed a few people like Whack 100 who thinks that Poochie from Mob Piru was the shooter. He's now dead.
The shooter was paid to do that, right? He's dead, right? And it was
The guy who shot Biggie.
Yeah, he's
And
dead.
you're saying you know who that is?
Everybody know who that is, right? He's sitting there.
Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
So can you say who it
He's
is?
dead. Named Poochie.
Who do you think killed Biggie?
I think Poochie was involved. I think Suge Knight orchestrated it through his, at the time, girlfriend / baby mama. I think she was the intermediary between Suge and at least one of the co-conspirators. I do believe Poochie was directly involved.
When you hear that name Poochie, does it sound familiar at all?
Yep.
Or? Yeah?
Yep. It's my answer.
When you hear the theory that Poochie was the shooter, what is your take on it?
Right on.
Other people like Greg Kading co-signed the story, but we don't really know. How do you feel that Big's murder is essentially unsolved 20-something years later?
You know, Big has kids, right? He just lost his mother, rest in peace, Miss Wallace. If something happened to me, God forbid, I would want my kids to know what the fuck happened to me.
Right.
So as a man, as a father, as someone who loves his family, you know, I just know that, you know, that's a hard pill to swallow, just to know that you don't know who did what.
Right.
To your family, you know?
Yeah, it's sad. Within 1 year, we lost the two biggest rappers in the world.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And
that would be the equivalent today of like Drake and Kendrick dying within like 9 months of each other. That's the equivalent.
Well, you know, one thing for sure is that rap was essentially designed to help us out the hood. That was one of, you know, certain people play ball, then you got the neighborhood dope dealers, right? You got the 9-to-5ers, and then rap was a way out, right? When did it become, let's design it to where we utilize this to keep killing off the community, keep promoting violence?
Yeah.
It can't be done by the rappers. Tupac and Big didn't have that power to control the industry like that. You know what I'm saying? They had a team of individuals. We have to market and promote things that have love too. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to be talking about killing and all that.
Okay, but let's just be fair about this, right? And I've talked about this before, and I feel that this is due to immaturity, but in this particular situation,
To a certain instance.
Well, let me just say this, because we're adults now. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to speak like adults.
No, we
with
definitely
kids and
speaking
so
like
forth.
adults.
But so I just want to say this.
I mean, adults speaking is just like, you know, when you understand what you know, what power that speaking all that negative shit and promoting that shit, that's fucked up.
No, I feel you. But here's what I feel was sort of one of the big problems during this era was you had these two very successful, legitimate businessmen, Suge Knight and Puff Daddy. They surrounded themselves with a criminal element in terms of their security. You know, you had guys like Wolf around and so forth. And then on Suge Knight's side, he had a bunch of these Bloods around and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So you're bringing a criminal, violent element into situations where if you just had regular police security and so forth, I feel like a lot of this stuff could have been avoided on both sides. On both sides.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to say at this point.
Yeah.
You know, being that I grew up with a certain element of my guys too from the street. And all, listen,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say what I'm saying. And when I got on, guess what I did?
Kept them around.
Put them on.
Right.
Even I'm gonna go a step further. Even with my man, what he going through right now with his joint, I'm not about to turn my back on Puff.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, as someone who you've been around my security. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, at one point, yes, I had a bunch of street guys around,
Yeah.
and I started to realize
You have
early
to
on,
graduate, so everybody
gonna
graduates
cause
at a
problems. Like, we had situations where I've had one of my guys almost beat up somebody I didn't like. You know what I mean? And that would have been a lawsuit. That would have been jail time. It would have been a whole lot. So at one point, I just started using off-duty cops as security because it just became safer. You know? And people also were more scared of the actual off-duty cops than some street guy who they might try to out-tough.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Understood. So, that's very smart of yourself.
Yeah, and I just feel like if both Suge and Diddy had just not used...
What was Gene Dill?
June Diddy was an off-duty cop, yeah. But look at Wolf. Rest in peace.
Look at Gene.
Yeah, I feel you.
But look at Gene, though.
Yeah, you could look at Reggie White Jr., who was on the death row side, but there was also the criminal side. It was almost like there was a mix between cops and gangsters around both sides. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I think over time it caused problems.
You find that in the church. You'll find that in the political arena. You'll find that everywhere you go.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Just is what it is.
Hey, man.
It is what it is.
You know, if we're speaking as adults, it is what it is.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Well, at what point did the Puff Daddy and the Family No Way Out album start coming together? Was it during Biggie's second album?
Yeah,
or
it was all coming. Oh, I was working on the project together. Mace, Biggie, Puff, and Mace project all at the same time.
Okay, because off the Puff Daddy album, you did Victory, which was one of the real standouts.
I did a whole bunch on it.
Yeah, that was number 19, gold record again. Once again.
What year was that?
This was 96. 97. 97.
See, you was born.
Yeah, 97.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you were celebrating that year.
I mean, that was a great year, but that record coming together was an essential and kind of like a groundbreaking moment in hip hop when Busta got on the joint with Big. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy. That was crazy. Just the track alone was bugged out. And then to have Jadakiss write the joint, write the verse. Legendary.
Yeah.
Legendary. Then we had Can't Nobody Hold Me Down on there, too. We had Been Around the World on there, too. We had, the Genuine joint. We had Foxy Brown on the joint. We had Kim on the joint.
Yeah. Been Around the World was crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
That was
me, Ron Lawrence, and D-Dot. Yeah.
Was that a David Bowie sample?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, by the way.
Yeah.
Brilliant to put
Thank
that
you.
together.
Had to play all the instruments over on there too.
But then there was the big one, I'll Be Missing You.
Oh yeah, I did produce that, didn't I?
Which happened after Big died, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, that was a huge record for me. That was the number one.
Number one on the Hot 100, 3 times platinum.
Yeah.
Not sure what it is now. It might be even be more than that.
10 times platinum now.
10 times platinum. So it's a diamond record.
Yeah.
Whew. And was it Sauce Money?
Sauce Money wrote
for Puff?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay introduced me to Puff. That's his relationship. And I think right around the time when, when Big passed is when I first was introduced to him to do some writing for him. I think Jay was originally supposed to write Missing You. But I think, just because of how the relationship him and Big had, I guess he couldn't bring himself to do it or whatever. So he introduced me to Puff, and that's how I wound up writing Missing You.
Okay. And was the beat already done when you started writing?
Yeah, I already had the beat. Me and Puff sat down and we talked about, some of the things he might want to say or whatever, and I took whatever he thought about, and then I added, whatever else I thought would be appropriate.
That was a big sample also. That was Sting.
Yes, it
Or
was.
Was it Police?
That was Sting.
Sting.
Yes.
I'll be watching you.
Yeah, I'll be watching.
Is that the Police?
Every breath.
Every breath you take.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll be watching you. Okay. So you put that sample together.
Yes.
Played it. I guess when you started to play it, 112 started singing, Faith started singing.
Wrote some parts, yeah.
Yeah.
It was it came together brilliantly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We were in the studio all day that day. And it was just like candles, and it was like sad as hell. You know what I'm saying? And it was like studio needed to be lifted. And that song did it. And since that was the song that lifted everything, I just chopped it up and did my 1-2 to it.
Can I have one criticism for that song?
Yeah, certainly.
And I was, listening to everything like all over again today. Yeah. The 1.5-minute intro before that song kills me every time.
What the yeah, but that was for the video. That was done actually for the video.
No, I got you. But when you listen to the actual album, it plays as well. Yeah. So you get the whole. You got to go to the 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, gotta go.
Do you ever while you're producing? Do you ever tell Puff that's too many ad libs, man? Let's just tone it down a little bit.
No. At the time, they wanted to hear those ad libs.
Okay,
he was hotter than fish grease. So
that's true. Yeah.
Why not? Do what you do, my brother.
No, I got you. Well, in that year, you also had Mariah Carey, "Honey," number 1 again on the Hot 100.
What number was that too?
What do you mean?
What number was that?
Number 1.
Oh yeah, I know. I just wanted to hear you say it again.
Double platinum. So now you have multiple number 1s, multiple platinum records.
Listen, I didn't come in the industry to play games with motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you hone in on your crafts, you'll get number 1s. Can't be running around bullshitting and, half-assing. I'm still sleeping in the studio at this point in my life.
Well, yeah, you also did Mariah Carey featuring Crazy Bone and Wishbone, Breakdown. That went gold. Mariah Carey, Baby Doll. You did Jay-Z. Are you about to play it?
Break down, steady breaking me on down. Break down, steady breaking me on down. Down.
I remember when I interviewed Rodney Jerkins, aka Darkchild. He said that one of the things that he did from day one when it came to producing is he said that unless he writes or co-writes a song, he won't produce the record.
Well, you co-wrote that song and you produced it.
Correct.
So you have most of that song.
Well, there's no song. There's only maybe 2 songs in the history of everything that I've done that I didn't actually co-write.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you always got your hands in it.
Always.
Or else you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing too.
You the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've been with the Hitmen and we had a click and all that, and sometimes a sample would be in the song and then there'd be 5 guys on the song. It's it's too much. Walk away with 15% of a song, you know what I'm saying, and you owe 100%. But I did a different type of deal, publishing deal. I did an administrative deal where most of the guys around me did co-publishing deals. And I think it pays off better when you do an administrative deal.
Right, meaning that you don't get a big check up front.
Meaning that
Yeah.
you get 85% and they get 15%.
Exactly. Right. But
As
that's
opposed to 50-50.
Right. But you get your 50-50 when you get a big upfront check.
Yeah. I mean, but I got a big upfront check
as well.
Yeah, for the admin deal. One of the biggest.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you did a bunch of records.
You did.
Jay-Z, Lucky Me.
Oh, yeah, that's
Mace, I Love You So from the Harlem World album. Boys to Men, Can't Let Her Go. LL Cool J, Don't Be Late, Don't Come Too Soon. Then a bunch of other stuff from Simone Hines, Tasha Holiday, Gina Thompson and Missy, KRS-One, Total, Sherelle, Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
So another strong year.
Yes. Back to back. 2 strong years back to back.
Yep.
A lot of number ones.
Yep.
A lot of gold records, a lot of Crystal, you know what I'm saying? 2 kids born back to back, the money's flowing, the sperm is flowing, everybody's happy.
Well, around that time, you meet Eve.
Yeah, the blonde bombshell. She met me, actually.
Yeah, I was at a video shoot, right?
Yeah, she met me at a video shoot, me and Lil Stevie.
Okay.
And we had our Blue Mink Versace shirts on or whatever. Boom. Yeah, I remember that day.
Well, I guess when you met, she asked if you were single and you said no.
I was not.
Yeah.
I was dating Stevie and Vonna's mom, Antoinette. And I saw her again about, I want to say 8 months later at a party. Yeah.
Right. You were single at that point.
And I was single at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys started dating.
Yes, we did.
She said you were her first love.
I was. You know, I poured into her career and everything. You know what I'm saying? I took good care of her. You know what I'm saying? As best I could at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, while you're dating her, you're also dating Mimi. There was some overlap.
I wasn't dating Mimi. It was like, you know, Mimi was always in my life.
Okay.
You know, as a great friend and somebody that I would just see all the time.
Well, didn't Eve catch you in bed with Mimi?
Yeah, we weren't. It was like a split. We had a split at that time.
Yeah, but no one wants to see that. Split or not.
Yeah, I mean, I let her in. I did not let her in. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you the story because he tends to get it confused and twisted. So let me tell you what happened. Apparently, him and Eve had gotten into it. I don't know about what. He calls me and asks me to come to New York. Flew me down to New York. Flew and had me at his apartment, which I didn't know. Eve was actually living there at the time. I didn't know this. Him and I are, you know, kicking it all day. About 4 o'clock in the morning, knock on the door. We're laying in the bed together. Eve is at the door. So his homeboy's like, yo, your mom's at the door. He's like, let her in. So I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? She comes in, comes down the hallway, baby, you know. I'm like, this nigga's bugging. Long as, you know, it doesn't get out of hand. She comes in, realizes there's a woman in the bedroom, goes the fuck off. Of course, who wouldn't go the fuck off? She was living there at the time. I would have went the fuck off too. Fuck you, blah, blah, blah. They had their argument, whatever. She leaves. Do you know who I am? She was, you know the fuck I am? She leaves. Once she leaves, she realized I just left him in the fucking house with this bitch. I think it took maybe 2 seconds for that to kick in. She went in, beating on the door. So his friend is like, yo, mom back at the door. So Stevie's like, let her in. Crazy. So he lets her back in. This time, it was like Tasmanian Devil. She came in like trying to just wreck shit. I don't blame her. I don't blame her. She came in, she went the fuck off. They was going at it. At that point, I was like, you know what? It's time to exit stage left. Like, I don't know what his idea was or what he had planned or if he was just trying to piss her off. Whatever the fuck it was, I didn't want no parts of it. So I politely got up and I left. That's the story.
How crazy was that?
It wasn't crazy. It wasn't no fight. It wasn't nothing like
she
that.
just saw it and walked out?
No, she saw it. And Mimi was like, I'm leaving, you know what I'm saying? Boom. I didn't know you were, you know what I'm saying, still around, blah, 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 blah. And that's how that went. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I was young.
So you're still producing a bunch of records. You did Jay-Z, Ride or Die, from Volume 2, Hard Knock Life.
Yeah.
Huge album, by the way.
Yeah. I remember it.
You did 112's next album. You did like 4 tracks off that.
Yeah. Maybe 5, yeah.
Yeah. Then you
I'm
did a
still
bunch of other stuff. Simply Red, Deborah Cox, Faith Evans, Tamia, Total. You did some Jackson's remixes.
That's right. That's right.
Brian McKnight. So things are flowing. Then next year, 99, some more Mariah Carey records, Tevin Campbell, Dave Hollister. And right around that time, Mace decides to leave Bad Boy.
Yeah.
You and Mace were close, right?
Yeah, we were cool. We were real cool.
Right.
But I had left before he did.
Oh, you had already left yourself?
Yeah.
Why?
I just wanted something different. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, you know, a lot of empty promises, and, you know, I just wanted to go and see what I could do myself.
What do you mean by empty promises?
I mean, like, you know, with just, you know, once we get here to this level, I'll make sure you do this, and, you know what I'm saying, those things never happen. So it's just,
You mean from Puff?
Yeah, so it's just like, let me just go ahead and figure, you know what I'm saying? Let me see how much weight I hold by myself.
So that means you're no longer a hitman at that point?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because you left that behind with Bad
Right.
Boy. Okay. So...
And that's when I started working on Eve's album.
Well, right. Well, in 2000, you did some Mariah Carey records, 112. You did Tyrese and Heavy D.
Mm-hmm. Criminal
And then
Minds.
in 2000, right around 2000, 2001, you co-wrote Eve and Gwen Stefani's Let Me Blow Your Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Produced by Dr. Dre and Scott Storch.
That's right.
Woo.
Sung vocals on there too and all that. If I had a voice right now, I'd sing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, which part?
On the second verse, when Eve started to, I'm going, oh, 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 all those voices in there. And I'm on the hook too.
Okay. And that song peaked at number 2 on the Hot
Man.
100. Huge record.
Almost got my baby in number 1.
Almost. And Gwen Stefani was on fire during this time as well.
Yeah.
I think she was going solo off No Doubt. So everyone's checking for her. Were you in the studio with Dre and Scott Storch when they put this together?
No, we came to the studio, we flew in, and we went to the studio, and that was on, and you know, I was singing the hook I did at Eve, and then Dre was like, let me hear it. Boom, he's like, yo, go in the booth. You know what I'm saying? And I went in the booth, and Dre cut my vocals.
Aha. So then Eve just redid your vocals?
No, Gwen Stefani just redid.
Oh, Gwen Stefani. Oh, yeah, right, because she did the hook. Yeah, you're right.
She
You're
sung
right.
on top of what I did. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you worked with Dre before then?
Nope.
So that was the first time in the studio with Dre.
And it was a keyboard live, so, you know, I'm just playing little stuff so he could just know, yeah, nice.
What's different about Dre than other producers?
I mean, Dre is intricate. From what I saw him on the creative side, it's pretty intricate. And then when you got a great partner like Jimmy Iovine, that's a good thing too, right?
And Scott Storch, you know,
And Scott Storch is very talented.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I know Scott.
When you got those elements, and you know, it's not hard for you to win. When you got a crew of great, talented individuals.
Well, yeah, but a hit song is still elusive, even to the greatest producers.
True.
And
you never know sometimes.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look, Dre and Snoop just dropped an album. I mean, people liked it, but there's no huge songs on it. And that's Dre and Snoop.
Yeah, I got to check it out.
But Let Me Blow Your Mind was a hit song.
Yeah.
Was that Eve's biggest song at that point?
That was the biggest song of her career ever.
Yeah, there you go.
Written by the guy.
Right. You also produced You Had Me, You Lost Me.
Yeah.
Off the Scorpion album.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
interlude for that. I did the No, 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 they don't love me and I know now. I did that when I did mad songs in the album that I just didn't take credit for because I was just letting the producers know.
Okay. Well, the next year you produced 3 songs on Mary J. Blige's Love and Life album.
Mm-hmm. That's when I got back. What year was that? That's when
2003.
That's from I left. That's when I left Bad Boy for 3 years and came back. That's when I came back.
Okay, you came back to Bad Boy.
Yeah, just for
Why?
for those projects.
Oh, for those projects.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because Mary J and Puffy.
Yeah, did the album together, yeah.
Got it. You also did Beyonce Summertime?
That's right.
Were you in the studio with her?
No, I wasn't. What happened, that's a funny story because Mario Winans produced that song and they had a sample in there. A big sample that was eating up the thing. I was like, yo, I'll play let me play something similar to the sample and take that out. And that's how I became a part of that record.
Okay. You also did some stuff for Mariah Carey.
Mm-hmm.
But you said around this time your musical career started to slow down.
Yeah. Music career slow down for producers. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't stay on top forever. You got to give someone else another opportunity to get their rocks off too.
Well, you said I was hanging with the wrong people and nobody wanted to be around these type of people, but I thought it was cool. No. You know, there was the downfall. Sometimes we got to sit down on the bench and get pines in our ass until you learn the game, and I learned the game.
That's
so
true.
Who were the wrong type of people that you were hanging around?
I mean, you know, I don't want to get into all of that, but for me, I'm going to say, you know, it's always an element of excitement in this music game. Most ball players want to be like rappers. Most rappers want to be like the street. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like always that element. And, you know, I was close to a lot of detrimental situations outside of my musical career that could have went other ways, just because of the friends that I chose.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm running around with these cats, so when I'm at the parties with industry cats, they like, do you know these your guys? You know what I'm saying?
Remember how we met?
Tell me.
Who was the mutual friend that introduced us?
I gotta remember. It wasn't Benzino, was it?
No. African Rob.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's my. So you understand?
I understand.
I was running around.
I was running around with gangsters too. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
But you know, I mean, luckily Rob is relatively calm.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've never
yeah.
had any bad situations
Right.
around Rob.
But I'm just saying
he's
still.
Things could happen around Rob.
It's just like I feel.
Shout out to my man Rob. You know,
Shout
I love
out to my
you.
man Rob. But look, I felt comfortable just hanging around certain elements.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is.
I
You've been
totally
there
understand.
as well. So
yeah, I was there.
You know, we were young.
Right.
And that's what we believe to be the way to handle things.
Right.
But once you realize, you know what I'm saying, and when things happen that could possibly make it for you not to be out in the free world and all that, you take things into consideration. You start looking at your family and you start looking at where you want your life to be. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that same year, you and Eve broke up. You said, I was a party animal, savagery. I regret not doing Eve right. She's one of my best friends. We made great music together. I regret not really focusing on the business and not focusing on those who truly love me. I was on some, I got this, I know this. I didn't know shit. Thought it was something it really wasn't. It was so bananas because Eve and I loved each other. Eve's such a sweetheart. There was a time where she couldn't go to the studio if I wasn't with her. She couldn't go out of town if I wasn't with her.
We had
That's
that
the love we
bond.
shared. And for me to fuck something like that up, I was my own worst enemy in relationships.
That's me.
Yeah.
The own worst enemy. And I think that's a lot of guys. Not, you know, I don't want to go back to my childhood, but, you know, I still hadn't really tapped into all of the stuff that was going on within me. So, you know, I blame myself. I point the finger at myself. And, you know, at that point, I did break her heart. I was running around. I was young, wild, and I just felt like I knew everything. You know what I'm saying? Like most young men. You don't know shit till you like in your 40s and shit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Till you have losses of loved ones and shit, like you lose your mother and father. You know what I'm saying? You lose somebody, you know what I'm saying? And then you fucking off money, you dealing with all this shit. You don't learn how to really be a man till you're 40.
Well, you guys broke up in 2003. In 2005, the sex tape.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you're bringing this up, Vlad. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad, you know, that she, you know, knows the truth. The truth of that matter was we made our little sex tape, boom, because she was going on the Cash Money Rough Rider tour. I wanted her to have something to take with her, you know what I'm saying? Let her see her guy and all that, you know what I'm saying? So we did the tape. The tape went with her on tour. And I guess one of her girlfriends yapped the tape. You know what I'm saying? So when it came out, everybody was like, Stevie, like, why would I want, you know what I'm saying? If I'm not getting no bread for it, why would I want it to be out? I want the world to see my beefcake for free.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Give me some meals for it. If I'm, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't have anything to do with that, too.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it.
Nah. You know what I'm saying? But that allowed me to see her again one more time in L.A. You know what I'm saying?
How did she react to it when you guys spoke?
I mean, she knew that it wasn't me. I just was so happy to be able to speak with her at the time because I hadn't spoken with her in so long. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, she knew I didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, I remember years later when Eve was doing interviews and you were brought up, she said something to the effect of like, Stevie could never get with a woman that I am today, and that type of language.
I mean, if that's how listen, everybody's entitled to feel how they want to feel. It's not wrong. I don't have to agree with it. You know what I'm saying? God bless her and her husband and her baby and all that. I mean, I helped create the woman that she is to today. You know what I'm saying? I helped shape and molded that. Yeah. I showed you how to take baths and all that and soaking Epsom salts and all that. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I never say nothing disrespectful about it because she's still, you know what I'm saying, somebody that I hold dear to my heart. I'm not going to forget about the moments we shared.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you're doing some more tracks. You did B5, Black Rob, Mary J. Blige, Sherry Dennis. In 2009, you co-wrote Day 26's Think of Me from their second album.
Mm-hmm.
I just interviewed Day 26.
Okay. What happened? Oh, yeah, that's when they were crying and all that?
Yeah, you saw
Why was they crying about? Because they was just DMing me talking about some, yo, tell Puff that such and such and such. You know what I'm saying? I got receipts and all that.
What are they asking about Puff?
And this was like, tell them, you know what I'm saying, we said what's up and we, you know what I'm saying, want to work and all this shit.
Okay.
Cat.
Yeah, I don't, you know, you do interviews and you don't really know what's going to happen when you ask certain questions. And, you know, we were talking, you know, I was talking to the group and Q was talking about how Puff, you know, sometimes would get on drug binges and he's becomes a different person when he's high than when he's sober and so forth. And he talks about this email that he saw that he wasn't supposed to see, and it disturbed him so much. It was something to do with sacrifices or something. And he started to cry.
Where the receipts at, Jack?
Well, here's the he wouldn't say exactly what was in there. He said, I'm not no snitch.
I was in the email, and I saw some things in a personal email that threw me off guard.
Like what?
I don't want to go into details right now, but it just threw me off guard. You know what I mean? To make me be like, you know what I mean? Like I understand you crying now and of the trauma that you've seen, but what about me, bro? Mm-hmm. Like what about the trauma you put me through when I read that email?
So when you guys heard this,
we was in tears. Like,
oh,
yeah,
wow,
in tears, real. I love my brother. What's going on? Tears, real. Yeah, hurt.
Yeah, it's real scary when you got to keep it to yourself.
Yeah,
you start doing things. I was like walking around Rochester, bro. Like it's like I really like lost myself for like years, and I don't cry about this no more because I'm stronger. And I guess like if this would never came out, I still would have been secret about it. I wouldn't just like snitch.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not no snitch. Like I was gonna just deal with it, and I don't know why somebody that evil would. I don't get it. I don't know why somebody would do that to a talented, passionate people. Yeah. Like, you know, we talented, passionate people. I don't understand. No, it's okay, bro. I don't understand why someone would sit down and think about hurting someone. I don't know. I kept trying to get in contact with him because all I wanted was an apology. All I kept saying, like, could you apologize? Like, and like when your last Vlad interview, you could look at me and tell like something was wrong. Like I wasn't the enthused person. I wasn't cute. I looked like stressed. I looked like I was in a dark place. So like you could tell like something was wrong. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
I didn't mean to go there. I'm so
man,
sorry.
It's all good. It's
I'm
all
so
good.
sorry.
This is real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we gotta take a break.
yeah, let's take a break. But he started to cry.
But you crying about it on an interview.
Okay, but here's the strange part about it. Because I've interviewed a lot of people over the years, and I've had people cry, like men cry on camera. That's happened a dozen times. But then the rest of the group started to cry. I've never seen that before. Like 5 grown men suddenly are crying at the same time. I've never seen that before.
They know how to sing in harmony. They probably know how to cry in harmony.
Okay. That's the reason, huh?
They know,
Okay.
I don't know these dudes. All I know is I produced a song for them. So an email made them cry? Or was it the fact that they don't, you know what I'm saying, their career isn't where it's at right now the way it was back then? Could be a lot of elements.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking dudes. I don't know them guys. God bless y'all. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? I feel it's just like you can't blame another man for your career.
Look, I understand.
You gotta blame yourself.
Listen, I get it. Listen, I understand, like, as a boss, sometimes you get frustrated, you get angry, sometimes you yell when you shouldn't be yelling and so forth. And
but
Puff
it's all a lot of passion.
There's a lot of passion in there, right?
Right.
And, a lot of people working with Puff during that time, like the Making the Band guys, the whole cheesecake situation.
Yeah.
We at Daddy's house, which is Diddy's studio, and basically Beyonce was talking about cheesecake. And Diddy came with the bright idea and said, you know what? I'll get them to do it. Straight bitches. And I didn't know, I didn't know that the walk was 4 hours there. I didn't know that. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I'm young. You dig? I'm not from no New York, you hear me?
Right. You think it's a few blocks away.
Yeah, I'm
whatever.
from New Orleans, bruh. You dig? I'm not thinking this shit like that. Babs and Dallon and Ness and all them, they like, what the fuck? Right? So they mind boggled. I'm just like, let's just go. They wasn't feeling that shit. So low key, we kind of hated Beyonce that day. And I ended up saying it later, but we hated Beyonce that day because we actually walked 4 hours there and 4 hours back. And it was the worst feeling in the world. I had bunions and all types of shit on my toes, bro. That shit was cold, bro. That was down bad. Diddy was down bad for that shit. Right then and there, I knew right then and there when he did that to us, when he done us that, I already had it in my head like, fuck this nigga.
That was a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I would have just gotten a cab. Dudes ain't have no cab fare. If they would have came to me, I would have been like, yo,
Here's
take the cab.
Fare.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you know how long that walk is.
Man, I don't, but they got their steps in.
That walk is retarded.
I got this app on my phone that do the steps.
Oh, they got their steps in
They got their steps in that day. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, so depending on who you are and how your career turned out, you're going to say that Puff was abusive, or they're going to say, no, he actually got a lot done, and, sometimes he had to get a little loud. Do you feel that Puff ever went over the line when it came to, like, working with artists and producers?
I never saw anything that was out of line.
Okay.
Really. And if you look at, the history, which is documented, it's like all of those hits, how many years? That shit was like 2 years, really. Like the real big one, 2 years. Maybe 2.5. But let me see, hold on, 96, 97, 98, 3 years, all of the real big hits.
Huh.
I was there for 5 years. And this monster they make him out to be, I never saw this dude. I never saw that dude peek his head one time. You know what I'm saying? Do people grow and do things? I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But I never saw this person that they're talking about. Yeah. So it's like, when I left and came back in 2003, I was there for maybe 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. Left again, didn't see him again for like 12 years. You know what I'm saying? And he and I didn't reconnect musically till the Love album. It'd be the Merry Christmas and all that type of call, whatever. The Love album. And that's when it we started working together and becoming really homies again. You know what I'm saying? Able to hash out things from the past. You know what I'm saying? Dude's not spring chickens. Dude's not 20 or 30 or 40. Like, we've grown men. So as grown men, we hashed out a lot of things. And that's why I was able to be there for him.
Well, yeah. By that time, you had 4 Grammys and over 120 million records sold.
Hey, Stevie, that's pretty good. Oh, that's my son right there, because you know what I'm saying. He know he getting left some good trinkets. Yeah, man.
Do you still have all your Grammys like on a shelf somewhere?
No, I don't, because it was a point in my life, and I believe it was 99 going to 2000. I filed for bankruptcy, right, to get out of situations and.
Okay, how do you file for bankruptcy after having that many number ones?
Because it's like it's not about the money. If you look at a lot of businessmen, you know what I'm saying, they file bankruptcy to eliminate agreements and to get rid of companies and stuff like that. That's just what happens.
So you're saying it's a strategic bankruptcy. Okay.
Absolutely. But they took my Grammys.
They took your Grammys.
Yeah.
Okay. That sucks.
And they sold them to somebody. I don't even know who got them sold. Whoever got my Grammys, I want to buy them shits back.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, can I get my shits back, B? If not, I'll just go to the Grammy Society and buy some. I don't even know if you can do shit like that.
Can you get replacement Grammys? Probably not.
That's bananas, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably not.
You can
then
get replacement plaques all day.
Yeah, you get plaques, but not Grammys. Yeah. I think Grammys are unique. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all good. But, knowing that, I got them is everything. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then in 2012, you decided to join the Cast of Love and Hip Hop.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, because you want to know why? Because it's like, why you want to do that? You got this music legacy and all that. The Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas and all that, niggas don't know about me. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to do something that would kind of raise the eyebrows up a little bit.
And plus, to be fair, producers in general don't get a lot of publicity. Unless you're Pharrell or Timberland.
Yeah.
Will I Am. Most people don't know.
Yeah.
People aren't reading through the credits like that. You don't see the person's face a lot.
Yeah, but I'm a fly guy.
Right.
Right? I don't think them dudes that you name could survive on reality in a reality space.
You're probably right.
You know what I'm saying? And nothing for nothing, I don't everybody's nice in their own way, but ask them how they feel about me as a musician and producer.
Well, you said your first season, Puff and everyone was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they're like, yo, why would you do that? I'm like,
you're gonna lose your legacy.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you're going, all the shit you did. I'm like, saying to myself, I want to say, yo, this shit ain't for you, motherfucker. Like, I don't care what you think. They like, you know what you're doing? I'm like, no, of course I know what I'm doing. End of the year, what? Number one show. Second season, what? Number one show. Third season, what? What is it? What's my favorite number?
Number one.
What's my favorite number? One. Is it? Fourth season.
Yeah, listen, you and Jocelyn were a force of nature.
Mimi.
And Mimi as well.
Yeah. I brought a lot of
But I feel like Jocelyn was the crazier one.
Yeah. The wild card.
The wild one.
The wild card. Yeah, that's what they call that.
Right.
People didn't understand what I saw in Jocelyn early on. They were like, yo, she's wild. I'm like, yo, she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? Now people, 10 years later, 12 years later, they finally catching up to what I was saying.
She still got her show on Zeus and still doing her thing.
Look what Daddy did.
Yeah, there you go.
Ain't that something?
Well, during the taping of that show, there was a lot of drama between you and Benzino. Did you post a semi-nude photo of Althea, who Benzino was involved with at that time?
I don't remember back then.
Okay. I guess Benzino exposed Jocelyn cheating, and he claims he hunted down Jocelyn's side dudes for you. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I don't.
He also said that he paid you and Jocelyn's bills.
Never did that.
Now, you said that Benzino...
What make him say that?
Well, this is Benzino saying this.
Yeah, I don't know what make him say that. He might have had a long night or something.
Well, you said that Benzino punched Jocelyn?
I don't even remember half of this stuff.
Okay. I mean, this was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah. There was at one point a video about this. But things were fairly crazy. I mean,
wild.
Yeah. You saw what you saw on TV, but from what I understand about Jocelyn, this is not an act that she turns on when the cameras are on.
I mean, she's a piece of work.
Yeah, she's a piece of work.
Yeah,
and I've interviewed her before.
Yeah, I mean, I credit myself for a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, being Dr. Frankenstein and all that, you know what I'm saying? And I just believe that her past was just, you know, she had to get some things shaken off of her, you know what I'm saying, in order to grow into the woman that she is now, you know what I'm saying?
Well, around 2015, you went to rehab?
Yeah.
Over what?
Because I had a court case. I was in federal court, and my urines was coming up dirty with, you know what I'm saying, weed and syrup and whatever else, you know what I'm saying? So that was a court order thing, like, yo, you gotta go. I'm like,
okay.
But this has nothing to do with drugs, you know what I'm saying? Like, so.
I mean, do you feel at one point you did have an addiction, or not really?
I don't believe so. I just know that that was something that the court helped.
Okay.
It was like a way of, like, so this is the thing. If you're not gonna make a change, right, and then you're in the court system, they're gonna make sure that they see, you know what I'm saying, you do something different.
Yeah.
Cause I'm blatantly like dirty urines, weeds, you know, whatever, drugs, whatever. It's just like no respect to them. So I understood what happened.
No, I get it.
You know what I'm
sometimes
saying?
you gotta do court shit to just show that you're actually doing the work.
Absolutely.
And you have it documented.
Absolutely.
I get it. So you just documented your rehab and
absolutely
to get some court stuff, you know.
Simmer down.
Simmer down. Well, things started getting kind of bad between you and Jocelyn. I think around 2016, Jocelyn claimed that you had molested your daughter with Mimi, and you filed a restraining order against her over that.
That's right.
That's a horrible accusation, by the way.
Of course.
That is just a disgusting.
You know, she was
you
going,
know, especially when it's not true.
You know, of course it's not true. You know, one thing, you know, I just don't hold things over people because I have to deal with myself. You know what I'm saying? I deal with myself differently. I'm not a person who holds on to something like that happens to me. You know what I'm saying? Just say if me and my son have a, you know, get into an argument, whatever, I'm gonna have whatever words with him, and I'm gonna tell him I love him, and I'm gonna feel better about it. It's not nothing I'm gonna carry into the next day. The same with Jocelyn. She's making these horrendous accusations and all that. She knows it's not true, but anything to do, like, I'm making an excuse for her, but her childhood and how she raised is like regular. Whatever she went through growing up, even in her adulthood before I met her, wasn't regular. You know, and people that are hurt will do the, you know, they'll try to hurt you the most.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they want a reaction out of you. You know, so, man, I don't hold that against her and none of that.
Well, didn't she get pregnant right around that time?
Yeah, right. After, like, right around that same time,
just
she
a
was
lot of craziness
pregnant.
is happening.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. You had dated Khloe Kardashian at one point?
I mean, you know, she was my assistant.
She was your assistant,
Yeah.
so, you know, you kind of crossed the line a little bit.
That was my assistant. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
I got it.
I don't know what does cross the line mean.
Well, you know, between a worker-boss relationship. You know?
I mean,
it is what it is. Sometimes it's cool, so I'm not saying. I'm just saying that it is what it is.
Chloe's a cool person.
Yeah, there you go.
know what I'm saying? Her mother, her father was real cool.
Oh, you knew her dad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was telling me about movie tunes. He was doing like putting the movie music in the movie theaters and all that.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, right around the time you get Jocelyn pregnant, you announced that you and Faith Evans were dating. Was it around the same time?
No, that wasn't around the same time.
Same year, though.
I don't think it was the same. Was it the same year? No, it was probably a year later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you and Faith start dating.
Mm-hmm.
And people, you know, would say, oh, well, what would Big think about it? And you and Big were cool. But this is like 25 years later.
I've known this lady half my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like, she was always like the sister element. I never tried her. The first day I met her, I liked that song, and I was like trying to push her, and Missy was like, yo, she's married, boom, boom, and that became my sister. I remember the day I met her because I was having a daughter, but I hadn't spoken to the mother. I'm like, I'm not speaking to her. I'm not even giving her the time of day. She's like, yo, you can't do that to the baby. I met her November 20th. Yeah. And then the 21st, because I called my daughter's mom after she talked me into it, and the baby was born the next day, my daughter. But I'd known her for 20 years.
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, if I did Love and Hip Hop, what would make you think I give a fuck What anybody got to say?
Nah, I thought the two of you made a cool couple. I'm like,
that's my
this
people.
makes sense.
That's my people.
This actually makes sense.
That's my people.
Did you and Faith ever talk about Tupac's accusations of sleeping with her and so forth?
It's like this, man. I've known her the whole time. I've known her since, what, 95?
Right. I mean, because,
I met her
Tupac
before.
started off, hit him up with that line. That's
Listen.
why I fucked your bitch.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have a conversation about that?
Nah.
Nah?
It really wasn't no conversation. You know what I'm saying? I know what I know in the scenario, and she know what she know. And we family. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, fuck what people gotta say. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that next year you pled guilty to failing to pay $1.3 million in child support.
Yeah.
And you got 3 years probation.
Yeah.
So you were facing real jail time, though.
Yeah, for federal child support. You hear that? That shit is not even legal.
I thought child support was a state thing.
It's not even legal.
Okay.
Yeah, go figure. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's one of the biggest scams ever. But once again, I went through all my things dolo. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I just had to handle what I had to handle. It's just when you go through things, and I was taking that as like, yeah, why the fuck is this going on? Instead of what lesson am I learning out of this?
How many kids did you have at that point?
5.
5 kids.
Mm-hmm. 6, actually.
6?
Yeah.
Okay, how many kids' mothers?
5.
5. So you had 2 with one of them.
Uh-huh.
Got it. Okay.
With Stevie's mom.
Okay. That's what's up. Well, then that next year, you and Faith Evans get married in Las Vegas.
In Vegas.
That's right.
By the Elvis dude.
Oh, you got an Elvis impersonator? No? Why not, though? You're in Vegas. Like, that's a very Vegas thing to do.
Yeah, in Vegas.
In Vegas. Okay. What was it like to be married? This is the first time you've ever been married, right?
Yeah, my first monogamous relationship my whole life.
Okay. How did that work out?
I mean,
in the beginning.
At the beginning, it was like, it was a lot for me to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just used to like, whatever I say, like, I don't care, like, doing it my way, being stern and being like, just like living like a single man.
Yeah. That's not married life, though.
No, it's not. I learned how to love through that situation, you know what I'm saying? And raising an autistic son and caring for somebody.
Her son is autistic, right?
Yeah, right. Caring for somebody that, you know what I'm saying, that can't say if somebody's fucking with them at school, you know what I'm saying? And,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was a lot just for me to deal with becoming a real man, you know what I'm saying? Having some things go on in my life that I can't control. I can't control, you know what I'm saying, what's going to happen from day to day. With autism, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I learned how to become a calmer, smarter person and a loving person, and I thank Faith for that.
Well, the year after you get married, you get full custody of your daughter with Jocelyn Hernandez. That's not a common occurrence.
Yeah. But
especially if the mother is still around.
Yeah, it was a thing where I just had to, the way I had to do rehab just because for the courts, I had to do that it wasn't like I would ever take my daughter from her mom's. Who would do that? It was like, you got to slow the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that was the court's way of telling me, you got to go chill out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I did that not with the intent on being like, give me my daughter. That's some whole shit. So it's just like, boom. All right, cool. We cool? All right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so then she got custody later on.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It wasn't like I was trying to take her daughter from her.
Okay.
I would never take Bonnie from her mother.
That same year, you also produced Summer Walker's Nobody Else.
I goes to produce a lot of songs on that album with London.
Okay, let it on the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to London. What up?
Shout out to my man Rico Reckless, who's dating Summer Walker right now.
Oh, Rico? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Rico
I don't
Reckless.
know. Okay.
Yeah, he's a Chicago rapper.
Okay.
They make a cute couple.
That's what's up.
Okay, so you get custody of your daughter. You're still married to Faith, but problems start to occur. And in 2020, Faith gets arrested for domestic violence against you.
Mm-hmm.
The charges were dropped.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Shit happens. You know what I'm saying?
The argument that went too
I
far?
mean, it's like, shit. I know everybody goes through their things. You know what I'm saying? Some shit happened and that was that.
Right, because later on you guys get separated. And then in 2021, you actually filed for divorce after 3 years of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
What was the final straw?
It wasn't 3. It was a little longer than 3.
Longer than 3?
Yeah.
4 years?
I think it was 5.
Wait, hold on. Let me look this up.
It was 5.
You were married in 2018.
5. In 2023.
And you filed for divorce in 2021.
I don't know. But it didn't happen until 23. So it was like 5, 6 years. But,
all right. Well, what made you file for divorce?
I mean, I just felt when you get married, you know what I'm saying, you in this to grow, you know what I'm saying, and to take, each other to the next level. I don't believe I was making sure that she was loved the way she wanted to be loved and cared for or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't her, it was me type shit.
Well, didn't you accuse her of cheating on you at your house?
Yeah, but that was I was just in my own head. You know what I'm saying? That didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Divorce was finalized.
For the record,
okay,
that didn't
never
happen.
happened.
Yeah.
So you were just talking shit.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and then 2023, the divorce was finally finalized. Mm-hmm. That was the same year that you started working on Diddy's Love album.
Yeah.
So you guys got reunited.
Right after.
And you guys started doing music together.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He nothing for nothing, he helped me through that process right there. That pain process.
Oh, with Faith?
Yeah, I mean just go.
Well, yeah, he knows both of you.
Yeah, but just I'm talking about like, us on the yachts just cooling or just, you know what I'm saying, just going to Poppy Steak, cooling, just blowing off steam, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it was, he helped me through that, making that music for the Love album, which was Grammy nominated, by the way.
There you go. Well, while you're working on Diddy's Love album, there's another producer that allegedly worked on this album too, named Lil Rod.
Lil Fraud.
Who filed a lawsuit that had your name all over it.
Yeah, come on. First of all.
Okay, can I just read some of this nonsense? All right, so Lil Rod
here we go.
Claims that Combs used access to Stevie J and his knowledge of Mr. Jones' admiration of Stevie J to groom and entice Mr. Jones to engage in homosexual acts. Alleges in the suit that Stevie J recruited sex workers and participated in group freak-offs. Mr. Combs informed Mr. Jones that he had engaged in sexual intercourse with rapper Redacted, R&B singer Redacted, and Stevie J. And then there was a video that was included, like a screenshot. It was included in the.
I'll slap fire out of Lil Rod.
In the lawsuit, which showed a homosexual scene, which he claimed was you.
Come on.
But then, gay adult film star D'Angelo Knockout Marquise
put his hand up and was like,
and
"That's
said, no,
his
that's
dirty
me.
work.
I'm doing the gay shit. This is me.
That's his dirty work." But why? But listen. So his whole story got more holes in it. You know them Jamaican shirts with the holes in it?
Yeah.
His story got more holes in it than that.
Right. He also said that you played a significant role in carrying guns for Diddy and recruiting women for prostitution.
You hear that, man? All right, so at the end of the day, this
okay,
dude,
but by the way,
I'm going to tell you this.
Let me ask you a question. Was Lil Rod actually there at all?
He was there.
Yeah.
I saw him there, but he was just the engineer. He came in as the engineer. I know him from the Mary Mary's, the church scene and all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know him for a guy that a lot of people don't really rock with. A lot of people don't fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw him there, I'm like, yo, how did this dude weasel, you know what I'm saying, his way in here? You know, I don't think the dude rap too tight.
Right. I mean, the lawsuit is full of holes. Like I said, there was a picture of a gay sex act claiming it's you, and the actual guy said, no, that's me from one of my movies.
I don't play that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got
I've never heard of gay shit.
Nothing against the salami smugglers and all that. They could do that. You know what I'm saying? If they want to do that, let them do that.
Do it. Yeah.
But, you know, just, why would you want to put, like, I got kids.
When you read that lawsuit, what'd you think?
I have kids. I got loved ones.
Yeah.
My mother was alive at that point. You know what I'm saying? I got sisters and brothers. I got a long legacy of hits, of great television work to make people laugh. Obama follow me when I'm doing television. You playing games with the right one out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna entertain that shit. You know what I'm saying? When I've allowed you to come to my home and you've been around my peoples and all that, you wanna, you know what I'm saying, make stories up like that about me, you know what I'm saying? Just stay in the hole where you at. Just stay buried where you at.
Well, 50 Cent commented on it.
Yeah.
You offered to box him.
Yeah. I said what I said.
Yeah.
50, congratulations on all the shit you got going on, all the shit you do. Whatever you and Puff got going on, y'all do that shit. As soon as you mention me, gloves is off. My mom's dead. Who want to go visit their mother first? Yours is too. That's how I feel. Don't put me in shit. Not unless you want to go all kamikaze. That's the type of guy I am. And so when he said what he said, it wasn't in no defense of nothing but myself. Go play in traffic, nigga. Don't play with me.
Well, his baby mother, Daphne Joy, was mentioned in the lawsuit also as a quote-unquote sex worker.
Come on, man.
Did you say something
Rodney's, in Little Rodney's thing, right?
Yeah, Lil Rod's lawsuit.
I said something to the effect that he was mad his baby mother was ganging them.
Right. Did you see Daphne around during this time?
Yeah, she was making empanadas for us and all that.
Empanadas.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
She's a pretty good cook.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's why I didn't even really want to push it too far, because it's like I see your peoples. Like, if you want to make a joke out of it, let's keep it as a joke, right? Then if not, let's just fight for charity, right? Or just leave it like that. Because nobody want to die behind shit.
No.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, he's making a good living producing television shows. I'm making a good living producing television shows. But, like, come on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, right around that time, Cassie files her lawsuit.
Yeah, I saw that.
And when people started reading through it, I read through the entire thing.
Yeah.
Even did an interview with Roger Bonds about it. And it was pretty shocking.
I don't know if you could believe what he's saying.
I think everyone has holes in their story all the way around the board. Like, honestly.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to go around talking about, yo, this man did. I'm going to talk about what I saw. And if they want to talk about, like, being a disgruntled worker or a disgruntled homie, I can't believe your story, because you're just mad about something.
Well, you were around Puff, so you were around Cassie. That was his girl.
I mean, yeah, I saw Cassie when she came through the door with
Ryan Leslie?
Ryan Leslie with the pointy shoes on.
Right.
And I'm like, look at this guy. And then Puff like, let's have a dance off. That's what he told dude. And he's dancing around with the pointy shoes. I'm like, yo, this is not gonna go well.
It's not gonna go well.
Nah, he got the elf shoes on.
Puff took Cassie from Ryan Leslie.
I mean, it appears to be as such, right? I mean, a chick is not gonna go where she don't want to be.
No, listen, I think I've talked about this.
A female is not gonna be where she doesn't want to be.
Listen, I get it. Cassie, and people have gotten mad at me about this, but this story is painted as Puff held back Cassie's career and dangled this carrot of stardom in front of her. When the reality is, let's just, as one music person to another,
talk that talk.
Okay, like I'm a DJ. I produced before.
Hit records.
I know hit
artists.
records. I deal with artists.
Right.
Cassie had one hit song.
This is true.
She's lucky to have that hit song. But in terms of overall talent, I would say that had she just been a regular artist on Bad Boy, she would have gotten dropped a long time ago if she wasn't Puffy's girlfriend and kept getting chances over and over again. And let me tell you something. I know someone at Bad Boy who was working records during that time, and he told me flat out that when Cassie had a record, they would push it just as hard as every other Bad Boy record. People just didn't take those records because Cassie's not Mary J. Blige. She's not Mariah Carey. She's not this uber vocal talent.
Right.
She's a pretty girl who had a hit song and had a boyfriend that gave her a lot of opportunities. That's how I view it.
I view it as, she had a great thing going. They had, you know, they were both rock stars. You know, from what I saw, they both was rock stars. It wasn't like Puff was like, yo, you better. It was like they both was rock stars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I look at it like me dating somebody for 10 years, and then after we stopped dating, it's like, yo, you did this, that, and I didn't make you do nothing. You wanted to do everything we did, or you would have broke out a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying shit was right or whatever, but she could have broke out a long time ago.
Well, the lawsuit comes out, and there's a lot of crazy stuff in this lawsuit, and Puff settles it like the next day, which a lot of people felt wasn't the greatest move, because it did. And listen, I've dealt with a lot of lawsuits.
Me too.
That I've settled as well. I've settled lawsuits that I knew I had nothing to do with, but it just made more sense to settle it. But the general public that doesn't go through lawsuits doesn't quite understand this.
True.
So when they think there's a settlement, it means that
guilty.
To them, that, oh, he's guilty and he's trying to get out of it.
Right.
When in fact, most times it's like it's cheaper to settle than to go through the court process. Right?
Me knowing myself, right? God forbid anything like that ever come across. I have to read something like that. And if I have a choice to settle this or let my daughter see it, what do you think I'm gonna do?
Yeah, no, everyone says that had Puff settled this before it hit the public, everything would have been different.
I don't know about that.
That's what people say. But you know, who knows? Who knows
we don't
what the
know,
future
you know what I'm
holds.
saying?
Well, because I felt that lawsuit triggered the FBI investigation.
We don't know what triggered the law. What
This
triggered
is true.
that?
We
What
don't
triggered
know
the
that.
Cassie thing?
We don't
You know,
know
a
that.
lot of people can say a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
And then
He
a
may
lot-
have been investigated before it
Right,
happened. Who
I'm talking
knows?
about, you know what I'm saying? Then he got into a lawsuit with the liquor
Diageo.
company. You know what I'm saying?
People like to say that that's part of it. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so the Cassie lawsuit comes out. It gets settled. Everything seems relatively calm. You're hanging out with Diddy in his mansion in Miami, and Homeland Security rushes in while you're there.
While I'm there, Dolo.
You're there by yourself.
Yeah. With the, you know, he has some employees there. And
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So suddenly there's red dots all over your shirt.
Yeah. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I really could. I didn't know what to think. I didn't even think it was real at first.
Right. Now, you didn't do anything wrong, so you don't get arrested.
Right.
But did they cuff you and everything?
They didn't cuff me. They just, you know, detained me, moved me
Okay.
to an area. You know, yeah.
Well, at the same time, the Miami home gets raided. The Beverly Hills home gets raided as well.
Yeah.
So this is...
With his kids in it.
With his kids in it.
Right.
What happened when you talked to Puff after the raids?
I mean, his main thing at that moment was like, yo, like, damn. I'm about to go out of the to some, what is it, spring break or something with his daughters and all that, and they surrounded his. He was more hurt that his kids were subjected to that type of stuff. His twins and his sons. You know what I'm saying? He was more hurt by like that. Like, yo, they could have called me. I'm like, it's about the embarrassment. They're not gonna call you. You got great lawyers. They could have called your lawyers and said, yo, we want to talk to the guy.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. It was more about an embarrassment thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, they want to make a spectacle out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
know
they
what I'm saying?
succeeded.
Right.
They succeeded.
They succeeded.
Okay. So now the raid happens. Well, the raids happen.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no indictment yet. But there is a grand jury. Did you talk to Puff when he realized there's a grand jury and that things might be coming down the line?
I was around him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you were in photos with him and videos and so
yeah,
forth.
yeah. I was around him, and
Let me ask you a question before you answer this. And I'd been saying this. Now I don't know if you could really answer this or not because that's your man. But what I've always said was, if I was in Puff's position and my home just got raided, and there is a what do you call it? An indictment possibly coming down the line, a grand jury. I would have bought a round trip ticket to Russia.
Right.
And thrown away the return ticket once I got
Yo,
there.
you funny. But look though.
That's what I would have done.
But then if he's taking, you know, the position like, yo, I'm fighting this. This shit is bullshit. You know?
Well, yeah, he's fighting it, and I mean, he made a post saying that I will fight these allegations. They're all lies and so forth. But then the Cassie hotel video comes out.
Deplorable.
Now, I've dealt with abusive women in my day.
Me too.
You know, so you can relate to this.
Right.
When a woman attacks you, you try to
do like, you know,
you try to restrain her, or you try to block from getting hit. But there is a line that you don't cross, at least in my life, that you don't become the aggressor. Because at that point, no matter what leads up to it, you're going to be the villain.
Right.
And in this particular case, you saw your man, Puffy, beat her like a man in a hallway. Now, I don't know what happened before, but it kind of doesn't matter.
It don't matter what happened before.
It doesn't matter.
You gotta know how to control yourself and all that.
Now, you talked about this. You said that Diddy was on a lot of drugs when this happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, you said Roger Bonds, you know, you said that, you know, he's not always truthful, but the one thing that he would say was that around this era, Diddy and Cassie would have these binges, these 3-day, 4-day binges in hotel rooms. They would take a lot of drugs and take IVs afterwards. And Puffy was going into rehab during this time and so forth.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I wasn't around
Okay.
at that time.
Okay. Well, but you did say he was on a lot of drugs during that time.
Oh. I kind of figured that based off just him having conversations with me about the whole scenario of what went down.
Well, you said when you saw the video, it really threw me for a loop. I always think about and talk about things I know to be true about Sean Combs, but after I saw the video, I went and saw him in Miami. We had a conversation. I let him know how affected you were by that. You know, I didn't know he had that in him to do that.
Right.
My conversation with him was basically, you're one of my heroes out here. You hurt me with that.
Yeah, because like I said earlier, that's all I know is a dude who's introducing me to all, you know how many artists you named? He introducing me to all that, like, yo, we gonna be getting busy. We on private jets flying and working with different artists, from Mariah to Big to Jay to Beyonce. We just flying around working, and I didn't see that. So when I saw that video, I was as shocked as you was. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that side of him.
Right.
I did not know that even existed.
How did he react to that video being released?
It was like he was, like, it fucked him up. You know, because I saw the video that he made afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why'd you do that? He's like, yo, man, I know you're going to ask me that shit. He's like, I had to do it. Because I got daughters. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? I had to let it be known that I apologize.
Yeah, no, look, I think that video was the single biggest turning point in Diddy's career. And you got to think, it's not like he's had a drama-free career.
Right.
You know, Biggie gets killed. There was the whole celebrity basketball game where people died. There was the shooting, you know, that him and Shine were involved in. So there was a lot of drama along the way. But this right here, seeing this video for the whole world, streamed on televisions, all, you know, computer screens all over the world, I think that even people that were fucking with Puffy were like, nah, I can't support that.
This is true.
Yeah.
You know, being around in Miami, you know, I didn't see a lot of those guys that were around before the video. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the same, you know?
Yeah, people, distance themselves. I mean, I saw like you, Groovy Lou, Los, King Los. Few people I saw that, you know, I knew were around Diddy, but not that many.
You know, but it's cool. You know, when you go through things, you really know who rocking with you, you know?
Yeah.
You really know who rocking with you. That's all.
Do you think that at that point, Diddy felt like he was about to get arrested?
I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? Because he's still like the type of guy that to keep everything to himself type. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But then at one point, he did get arrested in New York.
Yes, he did. On that Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him a couple hours before that, yeah.
What was the conversation like?
It was like, yo, what's up? Boom. he's like, what you got going? Earlier that day, we talked first. And I showed him the video. I was out with my mom because it was right after, I think, Labor Day or something. I went to see my mom. And I showed him I was in the countryside or whatever. He was like, you going off the grid for real? I'm like, yeah, boom, I'm going off the grid. He was like, will I be able to reach you? I'm like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that was the last conversation we had.
When you heard he was arrested, what'd you think?
It's like, you know, I didn't know what to think. I was like, damn. All right, maybe he'll just be able to bail out his son.
Well, he was arrested and he was denied bail.
Yeah.
And he had multiple
bail
appeals.
But even before
every
that,
one of them was denied.
Even before that, let's get to the legal part of it. If you're supposed to turn yourself in on Tuesday and I come get you Monday, you don't get a bail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, for a guy who would say, yo, I give up my passport, I give up my kid's passport, and I put up the crib in Miami, both of them.
Wear an ankle monitor.
All that.
Pay for a monitor
What
to
happened
be
with
there.
the guy from Abercrombie?
Yeah, I think he got a bail.
Huh?
FTX guy got a bail initially. So he messed it up.
And they having the fun boy party. They mad beefcake parties.
Right.
With little boys. And he got a bail.
Yeah.
This is, you know, it's just another assassination on an urban legend. All urban stars got to go through it. They didn't send the Abercrombie dude through that. We ain't even hear about that shit.
Well, look, if you watch me speaking about this over the past 6 months, and I've been on Piers Morgan, I've done my own show, I've always said I'm not exactly sure what Diddy is being charged with.
He's being charged with going up against some powerful liquor company.
Yeah. I mean, it's a RICO, but it's one person, right? Boosie calls it a FRICO.
Boosie.
I mean, yes, the Cassie video was horrific, but it's past the statute of limitations. Has nothing to do with this particular case.
And that's all they running with.
And, you know, allegedly Cassie turned in a bunch of like freak off videos, but
so
from what the lawyers said, she was consensual in all these videos. In fact, she was almost like the dominating force in some of these videos.
So what are you saying?
You know
what I'm saying? So what are you charging him with?
Yeah, listen, I'm not quite sure. Like, did he pay for prostitutes? Probably, but the prostitutes were all with it.
Grown-ups,
adults. Was there drugs there? Possibly.
Nobody's putting, hey, do this so you got.
Yeah. No one's shoving your head into the pile of cocaine. They're saying, hey, listen, we got some stuff here. If you want to use it, cool. If not, that's cool too. That's what I surmise.
What I gather, yeah, as well.
Have you ever been to any of these parties that have gotten sexual?
I don't do, you know what I'm saying? Me, if it's going to be anything sexual, it's going to be me and whatever lady or ladies. I'm not hanging around no other man when I'm about to get busy. It's got to be all female energy.
Wait, hold on. Have you ever seen the Aaron Hall interview I did a while back?
Nah.
I'm gonna play this for you real quick.
Oh no. Aaron Hall's a wild boy. A lot of animals and dogs around him and all that.
All right, hold on a second. Let me play you a video. This is a very infamous interview I did with Aaron Hall a while back. You may want to take a sip before watching this.
Whole thing is this, is that if niggas can't handle me, I'm not gonna never let them get my last name. If you can't handle my dick, you ain't getting my last name. So I've been single for 50 years.
All right now.
A whole lot of niggas out there from Jamie Foxx to like Denzel Washington to whoever. Everybody know me.
Yeah.
So everybody know if I say it, I'm gonna fuck it to death. I like the fucking public, you feel me?
Yeah.
So niggas can't say nothing about it. Them square ass niggas, them precious cake little dick niggas.
Yeah.
I like for them niggas to see how I fuck. Like if you speak to Jodeci or Puffy or any of them niggas, they been at my house, they all see me fuck. They all know I'm a big nigga.
Yeah.
If a bitch touch my dick and she say my dick is small, then she's a lying bitch.
Yeah.
What's wrong with him? Yeah, but
shout out to Jodeci and Puffy.
Nah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, you never seen that video before?
Nah, that was my first time. He wildin' though.
Yeah.
He went from cool to just over the top.
Yeah. No, I couldn't figure. I didn't know where that last part. You
but
know,
what does that
the
have to
beginning
do-
part was
Yeah.
whatever, but that last part about I want to pray for. Listen, at the end of the day,
what's wrong with him?
If you like other people to watch you have sex, or if you like to watch
People
other
don't like
people
to do
have
that.
sex,
If you're grown,
that's totally legal.
If you're grown, do what you want to do.
Yeah,
In your
exactly.
own
It's not my
privacy.
thing, but if it's someone's thing, whatever. I don't
Man,
care.
let them do what they do, man.
I personally don't care. And the stuff that I'm reading in the lawsuit, and people are saying, "Oh, that's because you were at the parties, or you try to protect Puff."
Nah.
I've never been to any Puff freak-offs. I've met him a couple times. They interview with him. I don't know him like that.
It seems like that would be only him and Cassie and somebody. Or, you know, that's what they saying. If that's what, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, out of everyone in hip-hop locked up right now, I feel like Puffy has the best chance of beating it, to be honest. And at the end of the day...
You know what I'm saying? God willing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, have you guys talked while he's been locked up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, well, these recordings are all, you know, it's all recorded anyway.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
like, what was the conversation like?
It was like, yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Just want to make sure you stand in the light type. His voice sounds like 1998, real high and all that. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like he's rested up. You know, he sounds strong. You know, he's just, you know, fighting.
You know, there's more and more civil lawsuits, but
it's a
lot
lot
of
of
these are getting
it's
thrown
bogus.
out.
It's a lot of bogusness.
You know, because the same lawsuit that Busby tried to file against Jay-Z with the 13-year-old girl,
It's
that's all
bogus.
thrown out.
Do you hear that shit?
Yeah.
Do you hear the way that shit sounds? You hear what they trying to do?
Yeah.
Do you see the scenario they trying to lay out? They pretty much like, yo, even if you get free from this, we're gonna fuck your reputation up so bad.
Yeah.
That you'll never, you know, this is what they're doing. You know, because I never knew an instance where you'll be proven guilty before you even go to fucking court, right? That's what all of these documentaries and all that. He ain't been proven guilty of anything.
I think Diddy's suing one of them, actually.
I mean, I would too. If that was, I haven't been charged with shit. Y'all painting this picture of me to be a monster.
Well, he has been charged.
I mean, he hasn't been
convicted.
He hasn't been convicted.
But he has been charged.
All right.
Let's just keep it
he
fair.
hasn't been convicted.
Correct. No, he's
of any
innocent
crime.
until proven guilty. That's the way the law works. Look, at the end of the day, if he won in court, I would not be surprised. I'll just say that right now. But then again, I haven't seen how it's all going to play out.
Yeah.
We'll see. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, because he's about 55 years old?
Yes.
He can't take a 20-year plea deal. Like he's, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
A 20-year-old could take that. A 55-year-old cannot, because that'll essentially be life. So he has to fight it. He has to go to court and go all the way with it.
As he should.
You know, but he's got the
As
best
he
lawyers
should.
that money could buy.
Yeah, but it's, you know, hopefully the truth will prevail.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we got to just see how it plays out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm never going to stop being there for someone I consider to be a friend to
Yeah,
me.
as
know what I'm
you
saying?
should.
I'm not going to turn my back. And it's like, I've been scrutinized just by being a friend. I guess someone never had a true friend before.
No, man, it's all good. I think you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do.
You know?
And ultimately, we'll see how it plays out.
That's
you know,
it.
he's not going into a federal trial like most inmates
Right.
that are barely scraping by.
Right,
He's
right.
got hundreds of millions of dollars to get the best lawyers, the best teams. He'll have his own dream team. And ultimately, if he walks away from it, I wouldn't be surprised.
I believe he will.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I believe he will, and I pray that he will. You know what I'm saying? I pray for his family every day. You know what I'm saying? His children and his mother, you know what I'm saying, and all his loved ones.
Well, we just lost Biggie's mom.
Yeah.
Were you guys close at all?
No, we had, it was just a cordial relationship.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, sad.
Yes,
And,
it is.
You know, I really loved how, I mean, I didn't love it, but I just thought it was really dope how when, you know, Tupac's mom and Biggie's mom at one point got together
Yeah. Yeah.
and really, you know,
Show some unity.
showed some unity in a situation. And also like how Junior Mafia and the Outlaws recorded some music together. It's like, I think people have gotten over 25 years ago. And have
If
gone
they
on with
haven't,
their
they need
lives.
to go seek help.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? If you're holding on to anything from 25 years ago, if you're holding off anything from last year, go get yourself some help and release that to the universe.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Final question. You've got a crazy catalog.
I do.
I've heard some rumors that you might be selling your catalog.
Hold on, it's getting bright in here. Stevie, can I hold your shades? Thank you. Well, you know, I'm just, you know, I have gotten some offers to sell the catalog. And, you know, I'm just going to just see what happens and continue to work. I'm out here working with Cash Cobain, I got to work with Coach Jones, I got to work with Tizo, I'm out here working with everybody. And I have a strong production crew. My son, Stevie, come say what's up to everybody at home. They can't see you.
Pop your head in?
Pop your head in. This is my producing partner.
That's
along
your twin
with
brother
Zach.
right there, man.
That's
Look
my
at
twin brother. Love you. He was a Division I basketball player.
Okay.
And wanted to trade his basketball in to continue the legacy.
Dope.
And I don't make it easy for him. You know what I'm saying? Like I told him, he got to have more ambition than me. You got to be in the studio before me and after me. I left the studio at 4:36 this morning. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I want to just congratulate you for the success that you've accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Now it's everybody want to be DJ Vlad. Now, because I know it feel like everybody want to be Stevie J, but now how does it feel to know that everybody want to do what you doing?
Man,
when you did it first, though.
I mean, when we met, we met before VladTV.
That's what I'm saying.
Before Love and Hip Hop.
That's what I'm saying.
Before our second wins in our career. Man,
how does it feel?
It feels great, man.
Congratulations. You deserve it, though.
I feel like I've exceeded my own expectations.
I'm gonna tell you like this. You know, I'm from the hood, and they like, oh, yo, you're going to do Vlad, blah, blah, he's a culture vulture. I'm like, no, he's not a culture vulture. He's a person that really fuck with us in our culture. You know, a lot of people don't know that we have some of the same friends and how we met and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like, I respect you for the gentleman that you've always been and for the businessman that you are, and no, you're not a culture vulture.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And that's that.
Yep.
And I just don't like that because I know you.
Yeah. That's all good. Well, here's the thing, man. Like the internet and real life are not the same thing.
But it feels like the internet is the fucking court and the jury and all that.
Well, yeah, on the internet. But then when they meet you in real life, they want to take a picture with you.
Yeah, but
so, you know.
But that's why I just hang with my son every day. I don't
There
even
you
like to be out friends. What is that? I'm working every day with my kids, and that's my life. You know what I'm saying?
Final question before I let you go.
No problem.
There are a lot of producers out there, they can't play any instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that's a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, you have people like Puff, you have people like Quincy, you have people like Dre that are geniuses in orchestrating.
Visionaries
that could put together musicians to create masterpieces.
This is true.
But you actually are a real musician who actually plays.
Yes.
Which is a rarity, especially in hip hop, right? Who could really get on the keys and really do your thing. So you were doing a lot of this before the interview started.
Yes.
Can we see a presentation of you on the keyboard before I let you go? Because I feel this is really about the music.
Only on DJ Vlad.
That's right, Stevie
Only
J,
on
man.
DJ,
Long time coming.
Yes.
You know, we've been talking about doing this for years. I'm
Yes.
glad it finally came together through a chance meeting.
And I'm glad I'm where I am at this point in my life to be able to have a conversation with you like this. We could do some things together, Vlad.
Man, listen, we're born 6 months apart.
Let's do it.
You know,
Yeah.
the fact that we're still here.
That's right.
Healthy.
Yes.
We look good.
That's
we
right.
have careers.
That's
we
right.
have friends. We have
Right.
family.
We still got our hair
We
and
still
shit.
got our hair. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. Come on now.
You know what I'm saying?
This
Yeah.
is, and we know so many people that are just not here anymore.
That's right. This is true. This is true.
You and I have so many people in common.
That's right.
That have checked out early. That this is a gift, man. To be in your 50s.
And I'm grateful though. I'm so grateful.
too.
I wake up every day grateful for every minute, and I wake up in gratitude though.
Yeah.
Every day. You know what I'm saying? Every day meditate, and I always, you know what I'm saying, always make sure that my kids are good. That's why I keep my right-hand man with me all day, every day.
That's what it is. Till
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Peace.
Peace.